correction and approval of record of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Monday, the 22nd of June, 2020.
Very much. Good morning, honorable members. Good morning, honorable ministers and team and the press. Honorable members, the record of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Monday, the 22nd of June, 2020 is before us for correction and approval. Can any honorable member please move that the said record of votes and proceedings be considered and approved? Thank you. Can we have a motion? Yes, honorable member for Sami.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I rise to move the record of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Monday, 22nd June, 2020 be considered and adopted. Thank you.
Thank you. In the seconder, yes, Jimara.
Thank you very much. I rise to second the motion.
Thank you very much. It has been moved and seconded that the record of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Monday, the 22nd of June be approved. Any issues or observations from honorable members? We'll start with page 1. May I just appeal to honorable members if we can move a little bit fast because we're a little bit behind schedule. Thank you. On page 2, anything? Page 3. Thank you. Page, yes, Gimara. Which page?
No, it's page 4, not 3. 4. Yes, number 27. Honorable Keba was absent yesterday. Keba Jallo.
Yes, Jokaru.
I was not here yesterday, Ma. Thank you. Number 28.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just want to take you a little bit to page 3. Number 3, Honorable Keba, I think it's KK. Sorry.
We're on page 4. Moving fast. Yes, on page 4. Yes, and Nyanija.
Yeah, the attendance 44. The lower body was equally absent, sorry. Yeah. No, page 4, 44. Yeah.
Any more? 4? Or we move to 5? Yeah, lower Fuladu. Page 5, yeah.
Page 5, question put and agreed to, the last line. 2020 was approved with amendments as the true record of proceedings. Then you have motions without notice and not motion with notice. Thank you.
Loanyomi. Or I allow the release.
Question put and agreed to. Consistency. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor.
No, thank you. The following page. 6. No, okay. 7. Yes, released.
Honorable Speaker, the first paragraph, the last line, where we say during the session, that should be emphasized. And the next paragraph to that, the member for any benefit was saying it should be B-E-R-E instead of B-R-E. Thank you.
Number 7, Ma. Number 7. Page 7, sorry. Laying of papers and report, paragraph 3, open being tabled and seconded, the notion was referred to. I think it should be
Are you referring to?
page 7.
Yes.
Yes, paragraph 3, the third paragraph. Yes, open being tabled and seconded, the notion was referred to. I think it should be motion, right?
Page 7, the first line, the bill was committed to the Committee for Scrutiny and report back to the plenary, I believe.
Lower Nyomi.
The same page 7, the third paragraph, upon being tabled, B-E-I-N-G instead of been.
Yeah.
Yes, the same page 7, the first line, the bill was committed to the, I believe it should say committee rather than to the committee alone. Because if you look at the other side, on page 6, for consistency purposes, that is how it is carried there. Yes. Yes.
The bill was committed.
Yes. If you look at page 6, it says the bill was committed to the said committee for scrutiny and report back to plenary.
You mean the committees?
Yes, but if you come to page 7, the bill was reported to the committee. I'm saying that the word said is missing there.
East.
Yes, page 7, the third paragraph. What they have there is the notion instead of the motion. It should be the motion.
It's already corrected.
That's corrected.
Yeah, it
Okay.
has been
All right,
corrected.
sorry.
Thank you. Page 8. 8. Yes, 8.
8, immediately before question put, the paragraph before that, the first line, is the Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs. What they have there and Gambians abroad. International cooperation is missing. And it's international cooperation and Gambians abroad. That's the full name.
Thank you. Page 9. Yes, Lower Fuladu. Please, can I have?
Page 9, the second paragraph. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it is missing. Thank you.
Gareth.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. Page 10 after first paragraph. At this juncture, the Honorable Member for Serekunda spoke on the motion and further moved a motion for the Assembly to adjourn. The verb to be does not take past tense. Thank you.
Yes, almost the same question. On the question put, the first line, it has been moved and seconded that this August Assembly do adjourn. It's adjourned. And then when you go to the last paragraph, the name of the Human Rights Committee is Constitutional Matters, not Constitutional Matter. Please put an S there.
Sorry.
You've seen it.
Thank you. Twelve. 13. Yes, Woolly East.
12, the second paragraph is incomplete. The Honorable Member for Combo is seconded the motion.
Basse. Sorry. Woolly East.
Yes, sorry, again, question put and agreed to. The second paragraph, second line, agreement is reported twice. extradition agreement between the Republic of the Gambia and the Republic of Senegal, agreement on mutual. So we should remove that other agreement. You've seen it. Extradition agreement between the Republic of the Gambia and the Republic of Senegal, then we come and say agreement on mutual. We should just continue and say on mutual legal assistance. Yeah.
Yes, the table office will have to check on that because it's a little bit jumbled up. Thank you. So that it will be rectified. Thank you. Any more on page 12? No? No? Okay. Page 13? Yes. For Bassett.
Thank you. It's a consultation. I'm not very sure, but I think the bill was committed to joint committees, Defense and Security, Human Rights, Constitutional, and Foreign Affairs Committee. Foreign Affairs. I think Foreign Affairs is missing here.
The mover. We'll have to confirm the motion. I remember there was one that was referred to Foreign Affairs, but we will confirm. And if it was, then it will be included. Thank you.
Thank you. Page 13, 5 bills. In accordance with Clause 65 of the Standing Orders, the Honorable Speaker invited the Honorable Attorney General and Minister for Justice, persons in charge of the bills, to hand over a copy of each of the bills in sequence to the Clerk of the National Assembly, who read aloud for a first time. F is in uppercase and T is in uppercase. It will be in lowercase instead of uppercase. Capital F, capital T. Thank you.
Page 14. 14. 15. No, thank you very much, then, honorable members. It has been moved and seconded that the record of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Monday, the 22nd of June, 2020, be approved with amendments. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. Thank you very much. Honorable members, I want to invoke clause 14 of our standing orders, subclause 3, to vary the order of business of this Honorable Assembly. That it says the order of business as set out on the previous paragraph, that is paragraph 2, may be varied by the Speaker in case of emergency or with the agreement of the Assembly Business Committee. And we would now call on the clerk. Can you, sorry? Sorry. Call the motion for the withdrawal first. Thank you.
Motion to withdraw the Sexual Offences Amendment Bill 2019 by the Honorable Attorney General and Minister for Justice.
Yes, honorable members will recall that clause 76 of the standing orders deals with withdrawal of a bill, that the person in charge of a bill may make a motion with notice for withdrawal of a bill at any stage before it has been read the third time, except when the bill is before a committee. So I would now invite the Honorable Attorney General, who has already notified the table office, the office of the clerk, that he intends to withdraw the bill. Honorable Attorney General, I believe the committee, the chairperson, has already been briefed Honorable Chair, you've been, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Good morning, honorable members. Honorable Speaker, with your permission and the permission of this August Assembly, I would like to request that the Sexual Offences Amendment Bill 2019, which was introduced for a first reading before this August Assembly on 2nd December 2019, be withdrawn. Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Justice has realized that there is perhaps a lot more that can be included in this amendment, and instead of passing this amendment and then to come back here and introduce new ones, which would be a piecemeal approach, which we have tried to discourage in the past, and we thought it best to withdraw this so that we can have a more comprehensive amendment to bring back before this Assembly. We do apologize for this, but certain things have come to our attention between the time that we tabled this bill for a first reading and this present moment, and we thought it's an opportune moment to introduce those amendments. And for those reasons, Honorable Speaker, with your permission and the permission of the Assembly, I would like to request for the withdrawal of the Sexual Offences Amendment Bill 2019. Thank you.
Very much. Any seconder? Seconder to the motion? Kiang West, sorry.
Madam Speaker, I rise to second the motion.
Honorable members, it has been moved and seconded that the bill entitled the Sexual Offences Amendment Bill 2019 be withdrawn. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. The bill is hereby withdrawn. Thank you very much. Clerk, can we proceed with the next item on the agenda? Thank you.
Laying of papers and reports. Report of the Standing Committee on Human Rights and Constitutional Matters on the National Human Rights Commission Amendment Bill 2019 by the Honorable Swaibu Toure, Vice Chairperson of the committee.
Much. Honorable members will recall that the motion for the second reading of the bill entitled the Constitution Amendment Bill 2019 was moved by the Honorable Attorney General and Minister for Justice on Tuesday, the 3rd of December 2019. The said motion was seconded and debate on the general merits and principles of the bill ensued. Accordingly, the bill was referred to the Business Assembly Committee for committal. The said committee committed the said bill to the Standing Committee on Human Rights and Constitutional Matters for scrutiny and report back to the plenary. The committee is today scheduled to table its report before the Assembly. And once the report is tabled, debated, and adopted, the next stage of the bill, which is the consideration stage, will be scheduled accordingly at an appointed date. I'll now invite the Honorable Vice Chair of the Standing Committee on Human Rights and Constitutional Matters to table the report of the said committee. Honorable Chair. Thank you, Vice Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I will not bore you by going to the table of contents and all this. You've seen that. Just straight go to the introduction. Honorable Speaker, during the fourth ordinary session of the National Assembly in 2019, the plenary referred the bill entitled the National Human Rights Amendment Bill 2019 to the Human Rights and Constitutional Matters Committee for further scrutiny and report back to the plenary. The committee convened on several occasions to discuss the NHRC Amendment Bill 2019 and subsequently invited the NHRC Commission members to clarify some of the observations and concerns raised during our meetings. During those sessions, Honorable Speaker, honorable members made reference to the Parent Act, National Human Rights Commission Act 2017, the Interpretation Act and the 1997 Constitution. The observations and results of the committee's consideration of the bill are incorporated in this report. The bill intends to amend sections 2, 6, 9, 11.2, 15, 26, and 27(1)(b) of the Parent Act. Each of these sections are discussed in separate paragraphs. The main objective of the bill is to provide greater clarity in the internal organization and operation of the National Human Rights Commission. We've made some observations. One, amendment of Section 2 of the Parent Act. Honorable members observe that the rationale for the amendment of Section 2 is to provide an interpretation for the words Commission and Secretariat. The committee noted that if the Commission is different from the Secretariat, the interpretation of each of the above words is essential. Moreover, the committee suggested that the above words should be arranged in alphabetical order. And thus, you can see the alphabet: chairperson, commission, president, secretariat, and staff. Therefore, the committee confirmed the justification for the proposed amendment of Section 2 of the Parent Act. The amendment will provide clarity and distinction between the Secretariat and the Commission. There will be no ambiguity on that. 3, amendment of Section 6 of the Parent Act. The committee also observed that the proposed amendment of Section 6 is to substitute this clause. Quote, a member of the Commission shall hold office for 3 years and is eligible for reappointment for further term, to be replaced with the words, in quote, the chairperson of the Commission shall hold office for 5 years and the other commissioners shall hold office for 4 years, and both shall be eligible for reappointment. That's the proposal. The committee further observed that the proposed amendment will increase the tenure of office of the commissioners and incorporate the principle of continuity for institutional memory. In scrutinizing the above amendment, the committee directed itself to the Constitution dealing with Ombudsman and IEC, and in each situation, continuity principle has been captured. Thus, the committee recommends the amendment as it conforms with best practice. 4, amendment of Section 9. Honorable Speaker, the intention for the amendment of Section 9 is to delete the phrase, in quote, from any other cause. That was the proposed amendment. From Section 9(1)(a) of the Parent Act. The committee is of the opinion that it is unnecessary to amend the above phrase because it is not interpreted in isolation from the words before it, which are, in quote, infirmity of body or mind. It's related to that. Therefore, the committee invited NHRC to appear in relation to the amendment of Section 9. On the 11th of March, 2020, National Human Rights Commissioners appeared before the committee to respond to the committee's opinion in relation to the phrase, from any other cause, in quote. NHRC explained that the purpose for suggesting this amendment was to prevent or deter the executive from abusing the phrase, but the committee directed the attention of NHRC to the statutory rules of interpretation. He used them generous. that is, from any other cause, will be interpreted in line with infirmity of body or mind. Thus, it is not capable of being misused. And even in such a case, the NHRC Act demands a medical board to sit and investigate the matter before any commissioner can be removed. Finally, NHRC agreed with the reasoning of the committee that the phrase is not capable of being abused. 5, amendment of section 11(2) of the Parent Act. The committee observed that section 12(2) deals with a situation, 11(2) deals with a situation where a vacancy occurred in the membership of the commission. However, the procedure used for the appointment of all commissioners is the same procedure prescribed in cases of vacancy. That's how it was. The committee is of the opinion now that the procedure mentioned in the schedule of the Act is suitable only for the appointment of the entire commission members, but does not anticipate a single appointment procedure in cases of vacancy, and that it will not make sense to undertake such a tedious method just to fill one vacancy. The committee decided to invite NHRC for their response to its observations and findings. When NHRC members appeared before the committee, they replied that the intention of the amendment was to open the vacancy to any qualified individual, which will enable any competent person to apply, and the qualified individual will be selected accordingly. Thus, the committee agreed with the reasoning of NHRC on this matter and recommends the amendment of section 11(2) accordingly. We've accepted that one. 6, amendment of section 15. This amendment is to clarify an error of reference, which section 15 made. The Principal Act made reference to section 12(1)(c), whereas the intention was to refer to section 12(c). Section 12(1)(c) does not exist anywhere in the Parent Act. That's what we have discovered. Thus, the committee welcomes this clarification and recommends the amendment of section 15. Now, the committee observed that the establishment of the office of the commission and the executive secretary separately is the sole object and purpose of the amendment bill. And the amendment of section 26 seeks to accomplish that. This amendment is also recommended. 8, amendment of section 27(1)(b). It is the opinion of the committee that substituting commission, the word commission, with the word secretariat under section 27(1)(b) will guarantee the independence and separation of the commission from the secretariat. The current provision of the Parent Act empowers the executive secretary to control and head both the commission and the secretariat. If the substitution is done, the executive secretary would only head the secretariat, and the chairperson heads the commission. Thus, the committee recommends this amendment as well. The separation of the two is recommended. Honorable Speaker, our conclusion is that after a thorough consideration of the NHRC Amendment Bill 2019, the committee recommends that the amendments to the Parent Act are necessary, except for the proposed amendment of Section 9. I beg to move. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Any seconder? Yes, Upper Salum.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And I would like to second the motion and also to thank the committee for the wonderful work they have done in consultation with the National Human Rights Commission, where these amendments actually are just going to give them more powers and more clarity in their work. So I want to thank the committee for this wonderful work. And on that note, I want to thank everybody.
Thank you very much. I'll now put the question. It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Assembly do consider the report of the Standing Committee on Human Rights and Constitutional Matters on the Constitution Amendment Bill 2019. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. Now, any honorable member who wishes to take part in the debate may do so now. Okay, no debate. Yes, honorable member for Woolly West.
Say that I don't think there's any debate necessary on this. Everything is quite clear there.
Banjul North.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I would agree with the member for Woolly West that there is nothing much to debate on this. It is very clear. But to first acknowledge the work being done by the committee, I just want clarification on number 3. It is saying that the committee observed that the proposed amendment of Section 6 is to substitute this clause. Quote, a member of the commission shall hold office for 3 years and is eligible for reappointment for further term with the words, the chairperson of the commission shall hold office for 5 years and the other commissioner shall hold office for 4 years and both shall be eligible for reappointment. What I'm not clear about, since laws should not create any room for ambiguity, is that if you go to the ones that they seek to amend, it ended with for further term. But the proposed amendment does not have any further term. What it says is that for 4 years and both shall be eligible for reappointment. Reappointment for how long? I think it is important if you can substitute it. Reappointment for another term. If you can add another term there, so that there will be no room for ambiguity. This is just my, this I wanted to highlight. Thank you.
Yeah, you want to respond? No, but he has raised the bad issue.
Yes, okay. It's a suggestion that for there not to be any ambiguity, I don't see anything wrong adding for another term. So, but reappointment is, it should be understood that once you reappoint somebody, it's the same term. You don't change terms. That's my understanding. So, I don't think there is
Maybe
any
that's the
ambiguity.
clarification he wants.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, and I now put the question, be it resolved that this Honorable Assembly do adopt the report of the Standing Committee on Human Rights and Constitutional Matters on the Constitution Amendment Bill 2019. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. Thank you very much. And the next stage, that is the consideration stage of the bill, is now scheduled as per the agenda of the session, and it will be communicated in due course. Thank you very much. Clerk, can we proceed? Thank you. The next report.
Madam Speaker.
Sorry, yes?
For the purpose of the record, I think you misquoted the amendment. It should be the Human Rights Amendment Bill, not the Constitutional Amendment. Yeah, and that's what you, yeah.
Constitutional matter.
Human Rights Amendment, not the Constitutional Amendment. If you don't listen to me, you will not understand. What Madam Speaker said is the Constitutional Amendment Bill. That is what I'm trying to hear.
Yes, the mistake was mine, I think, according to my records, yes. But it should read the Human Rights Commission Amendment Bill. Thank you very much for the observation. Thank you. Clerk, can we proceed now? Thank you.
Report of the Public Appointments Standing Committee for confirmation of appointments of retired Colonel Mamadou Ndaw Njai and Mr. Yusufa Babukar Diba as members of the Gambia Armed Forces Council in accordance with Section 189(1)(g) of the 1997 Constitution and Section 13(1)(g) of the Gambia Armed Forces Act by the Honorable Mohamed Magasi, member of the committee.
Thank you very much. Honorable members will recall that the motion for the confirmation of appointments of retired Colonel Mamadou Ndaw Njai and Mr. Yusuf Babukar Diba as members of the Gambia Armed Forces Council in accordance with Section 189(1)(g) of the 1997 Constitution and Section 13, subsection 1(g) of the Gambia Armed Forces Act was tabled by the Honorable Minister for Defense on Tuesday, the 19th of May, 2020. The motion upon being tabled was seconded and referred to the Public Appointments Standing Committee for scrutiny and for the committee to report back to the plenary. I'll now invite the Honorable Member for Basse, who is a member of the Standing Committee on Public Appointments, to table the said report. Honorable, please, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of members of the Public Appointments Standing Committee, Honorable Mariama Jagdentin, the chairperson, Honorable Mohamed L.K. Sani, vice chair, Honorable Kebake Baro, member, Honorable Samba Jallo, member, Honorable Fatma Njai, member, and Honorable Alaji Sankun Jamme, member, and myself, Honorable Mohamed Magasi, member. I rise to move for consideration and approval of this August Assembly the report of the Public Appointment Standing Committee on the appointment of retired Colonel Mamadou Ndaw Njai and Mr. Yusufa Babukar Diba as members of the Gambia Armed Forces Council in accordance with the Section 189(1)(g) of the 1997 Constitution and Section 13(1)(g) of the Gambia Armed Forces Act. Honorable Speaker, this report is in accordance with Standing Order 114(2) of the National Assembly. In order to do economy of reading, I want to jump this portion which members have read and to go directly on the second page on the last, third to last paragraph. Honorable Speaker, the motion for the confirmation of appointment of retired Colonel Mamadou Ndaw Njai and Mr. Yusufa Babukar Diba as members of the Gambia Armed Forces Council, tabled by the Honorable Minister for Defense on Tuesday, 19th May, 2020, and it was referred to the Public Appointment Standing Committee as per Standing Order 114 for scrutiny and advice. Furthermore, Standing Order 114(2) mandate the Public Appointment Standing Committee to consider and advise upon all appointments to the public office to be made by the executive subject to the confirmation of the National Assembly and any other matter connected thereto. Accordingly, the committee met on Thursday, 4th June, 2020, to consider and scrutinize the motion and as was referred to it by the plenary. Methodology. The committee thoroughly scrutinized the credentials of retired Colonel Mamadou Ndaunjai and Mr. Yusufa Babukar Diba. In reviewing the credentials of both retired Colonel Ndaunjai and Mr. Diba, the committee took cognizance of the functions of the Armed Forces Council as prescribed by the 1997 Constitution and Armed Forces Act. Academic qualification vis-à-vis experience was also used to ensure an impartial scrutiny process. Resolution. The Public Appointment Standing Committee, having regard to the need for persons appointed as members of the Armed Forces Council to be impeccable in character and a professional in exercising his or her functions, bearing in mind that the members of the Council are reposed with the responsibility to advise the President on all matters of policy relating to defense, on strategy, including the role of the armed forces, defense, budgeting, and finance. Whereas the person appointed members of the Armed Forces Council should demonstrate utmost impartiality and neutrality to discharge his or her duty, bear in mind the Armed Forces Council advises the President on the promotion of officers to the rank of Lieutenant Colonel and exercises the effective and efficient administration of the armed forces, cognizant of Standing Order 114.2 of the National Assembly, giving mandate to the Public Appointment Standing Committee to scrutinize and advise upon all appointments to a public office made by the executive. Guided by the relevant provisions of the Constitution and after a thorough review of their individual CVs and credentials, hereby recommend as follows. 1, that the Assembly to confirm the appointment of retired Colonel Mamadou Ndaunjai and Mr. Yusufa Babukar Diba as members of the Armed Forces Council for reasons that A, the candidates acquire the requisite knowledge, with experience and qualification to be appointed members of the Armed Forces Council. B, the candidates have exhibited impeccable character in their record of employment with both the public services and the Army. And C, the candidates are seasoned persons in their respective subject matter. Accordingly, the committee, as mandated by the standing orders, hereby submit its reports and recommendations for consideration and approval. I beg to move.
Jimara.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the motion, and I wanted to confirm from the mover whether the state two people, they presented their certificate to the committee. Because I can remember the assembly, when we are referring it, we asked them to submit their certificate to the relevant committee. So as of now, we didn't receive any document from them.
I now put the question. It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Assembly do consider the report of the Public Appointments Standing Committee for confirmation of appointment of retired Colonel Mamadou Ndaunjai and Mr. Yusufa Babukar Diba as members of the Gambia Armed Forces Council, in accordance with Section 189, subsection 1G of the 1997 Constitution and Section 13(1)G of the Gambia Armed Forces Act. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. Now, honorable members who wish to take part in the debate may do so by raising their tags, and we'll record the interventions. Please.
Honorable Speaker, observation,
Sorry,
please.
Can I just land?
Observation.
Now, before the observation, please let me complete my sentence. Honorable members who wish to take part in the debate may do so by raising the tags, so the constituency tags will be recorded by the table office, and then we'll move accordingly. And thank you very much. Now I'll take the observation wherever it. Yes, okay, thank you.
No.
Problem is when my mic is
Yeah.
on, I don't hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. What I'm saying, I want to observe that because we have debated extensively on this particular motion, and we did refer it to a committee to go through and get the necessary CVs. Upon laying again and advise us to pass it, are you asking for any further clarification or debate on the particular report?
My observation.
Honorable, the procedure is that once it is tabled, honorable members are at liberty to debate on the report as tabled. So we cannot stop them actually from expressing their views or opinions on the report. It was a task assigned to the committee. The committee has done its work, so it's not for me. Yes, we will take the what is it called? We'll take the road. Thank you. Yes, honorable member for Sandu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Actually, my mind was on the request from the plenary that these people should submit their credentials, their CV, to the committee responsible. And just now we are receiving a certificate from one of the individuals who has been proposed to be a member of the Armed Forces Council. But, Honorable Speaker, I just received this document less than 2 minutes. When I just flashed the cover page of the document, which shows you that definitely I'm not sure that this can be a reason why the committee will go into a recommendation that a person with a certificate like this should be part of this council. If we are talking about experience, because there they said I travel extensively, and also maybe high school certificate, we're expecting the committee, instead of copying verbatim from the Constitution and the standing orders, like when you go to the report, the first page, second page, is all copied almost word for word from the Constitution and the standing orders. And even whereas the committee resolved, if they copy directly from the Constitution, they are responsibilities of the Armed Forces Council. So we're definitely expecting that the committee will come with tangible reasons why these people should be in the Armed Forces Council. Honorable Speaker, I did not see that of Mr. Yusufa B. Diba certificates or documents that will definitely convince me to support this motion for their appointment, for the confirmation of their appointment. Honorable Speaker, when you look at these two again, actually any appointment that comes here to approve, almost 99% of these people are all men. So we are also expecting maybe they also propose that a woman should be part of this council. If we take one man, then we have to take another woman to make sure that it's part of this council.
Going through the credential, Honorable Speaker, that was my expectation from the committee, that definitely when we always appoint men, and also in our constitution, that this newly, our constitution, just the draft one, it is mentioned there that at least a certain percentage position should be left for women. So for this position, I recommend, that's my own opinion, that one of these candidates should be dropped and a woman should be replaced. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. Funi Kansala.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, to begin with, I want to say, before this particular committee work, there was a report that was presented, and we can see the manner in which the process of that report was handled. It goes to show that the relevant committee did their work, made consultations, and came to inform plenary accordingly. This is why there was no prolonged debate on it. Honorable Speaker, just like my honorable colleague from Sandu have made mention, first I want to question the mover of the motion, whether in actual fact they have received the credentials of Mr. Diba and Mr. Njai, because they are to inform us accordingly. They were entrusted with the responsibility of doing scrutiny on the credentials that were presented to them and a report to plenary so that plenary will add their weight on their report. We are just receiving it, the two credentials from Mr. Diba and Mr. Njai. And it will be very difficult for us at this juncture to be able to go through and ascertain that yes, the credentials and all what was requested, what warranted the plenary recommending that the appointment be committed to the Public Standing Appointments Committee. It will be difficult for us to make any judgment as per what we received now. But I want to be guided. I don't want to be misguided. I want to be informed, and I want the information to be accurate, so that if I am to take any decision, I will make a decision that is going to represent the interests of the Gambian people and for the purpose which the two gentlemen are going to be appointed to serve. Because we must all remember that they are to be appointed to serve the interests of the nation and not an individual's interest. Therefore, it is prudent that whatever we are doing must be in conformity with what the responsibility bestowed on us is. So again, I want to be convinced beyond reasonable doubt that the credentials were actually received and they were reviewed on time. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move.
Very much. Honorable Member for Woolly West.
Well, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I just want to suggest some language corrections. Page 1, section, where you have section 1891 quoted. When you say comprise, you don't say of. Comprises. Of should not be there. Huh? That's okay? Compose of, but not comprise of. Comprise does not take off. And there is another place. Yes, page 4. The paragraph with 1. That the Assembly to confirm the appointment of retired Colonel Mohamed Ndaunja and Mr. Yusuf Babakar Diba as members of the Gambia Armed Forces Council for reasons which follow, but not for reasons that. Huh? For reasons which follow, or for the following reasons, but that should not be there. And then if you go to paragraph B, the candidates have, and not the candidates has. Candidates have. And then paragraph C, the candidates are seasoned persons in their respective subject matters, not respectively. And to react to a comment by one of the speakers, I think their reasons are clearly enunciated on page 4, which are: 1, that the candidates, the candidates acquired the requisite knowledge with experiences and or qualification to be appointed members of the Armed Forces Council, 1. B, the candidates have exhibited impeccable character in their record of employment with both the public services and the army. And C, well, one of them, not both of them. The other one was not in the army, was he? Yusuf was not in the army, so it's one of them. One of the candidates exhibited that experience, not the second one. The second one was never a member of the army. C, the candidates are seasoned persons in their respective subject matters, and their credentials have indicated that. They have eloquently spoken to that. So I think the reasons are clearly indicated. It's not just quoting the Constitution, but they have also given reasons why they are suggesting that we affirm, confirm, or approve the appointment of these two persons. Madam Speaker, I just want to add, yes, I agree with what you have said, but one of the reasons why we refer matters to committees, one is to give the job to those who are technically oriented to look at it, to scrutinize effectively on our behalf. And when that report comes to the Assembly again, there is no need for us to debate the way we do, because we are, in fact, more or less saying to the committee, you have not done your work. It's not encouraging at all. The fundamental reason why we refer is to cut down on time, to make it possible for the Assembly to do as much as possible so that we have enough time to do many things. And this matter was, in fact, we debated. I remember all that I have said about Mr. Njai. I remember all that I have said about Mr. Yusuf. Why do you want to say, what do I have to say about them again? And many of us have done that. And we are going to debate it again. Well, you say, if people have the right, but then sometimes we have to exercise our right judiciously and economically. Thank you.
Birkama South.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I think the tax before us is a noble tax and a little bit complex. Complex in the sense that we're talking about a council that is extremely important. I just want to thank the committee for coming out with this, but I have few observations that I just want to put the attention of the mover to those things. Like you talk about section 189.1, that is talking about the composition of the council members, where you have the vice president, that is an automatic member, the minister for the time being responsible for defense, the chief of defense staff, the armed force chief of staff, commander of the army, the navy, and the air force, the permanent secretary of the ministry responsible for defense, and two other appointed by the president, subject to confirmation of the National Assembly. So if you look at the composition, the entire membership here, you can accept the two that we are going to confirm. They are all military-minded people. And if you talk about military in particular, there is serious misconception in the country. How are we going to bridge that disparity between the army and the society? This is extremely very important. We have to understand one thing. If you talk about army, or especially their presence in our communities, people get afraid. How do we bridge these things? So my candid opinion with regards to this, if we are going to nominate two, there should not be military-minded people. We have to look at policies. How are we going to bridge? So that because we are two sides of the same coin. Sometimes if you say army, people are afraid, they keep running. But how are we going to do that? You bring in people that are not military-minded, and there will be people that are educated. They can help the president, since their primary function is to advise the president on policy and all the other issues. So this is a gap, and since we are on reform, and the best time for us to reform, to do our reform, is to bridge that misunderstanding between the army that are part and parcel of us as two sides of the same coin, so that we can live in harmony, we can live in peace. So my candid opinion is to bring in people that are not even military minded, but they have the high qualification. They can help to see how are we going to work together. So that is the other aspect. Other than the academic qualification, this is an issue, and more especially, as highlighted by the member for Sandu, the introduction of a woman in this particular council is extremely important, because most of the women, they have that remorselessness in them. So it will be ideal if they are there, so that they can also help in coming out policies that will bridge the army and the civilian disparity. So that is my candid opinion as far as this issue is concerned. The mover, I just want to draw your attention to this thing. We want people that are not militarily minded, but let them be civilian minded, so that we can break the disparity. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The request that was made by the member for Jara East was not considered until after the tabling of the recommendations to the members today. We had thought that ample time was going to be given for members to see all the relevant documents that were needed to justify why the plenary should confirm the appointments of these people. As it is, this one that we have just got looks to be based more on recommendation and schoolwork than on authentic certificates that would have justified why we should have considered the recommendation. Secondly, Madam, here we are talking about people who have served over 40 years. If we could have watered it down to younger, military-minded people, or even outside the domain of military, it would have helped a lot. Because these people are retirees, and they are being bailed in for another 4 years more. Look at the gap. How many youths are there who are not occupying such positions? The old should start to think about giving chances to the young. Thank you.
No, I want to handle him. Thank you, Honorable Member for Sami.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me the floor. Madam Speaker, I would also like to thank the Public Appointment Standing Committee on the appointment of these people. Madam Speaker, this is Parliament. Everybody here, you are entitled to your opinion. So you cannot just tell people that what you are saying, it is not the right path. We are all entitled to our opinion. Madam Speaker, as other speakers have mentioned, this report, this is the second time when it is laid here and was referred. But people made their demands, what they want before it comes back. And that is their certificates and CVs. That's what we want to see. But this 11th hour, people receive it. Honorable members, how can we make justice on that? Just you receive it today, and you want to make justice on that. Honorable Speaker, most of these people have been in the system since colonial times. Since colonial times. Why should we not build the capacity of young ones? Why not? We are not saying that these people are not experienced. They are experienced, we know. But this is not the first time, Madam Speaker, we are accepting such, but based on reasons. Ombudsman, it came here. But the CVs were passed. People look at them. Why not this time we are saying that we are not going to look at the CVs? Why? Why? Why are we not going to look at the CVs? And we just want to pass it and give them the positions like that. We will be accountable for it because we are here for the interest of the people. We all want to see this country move higher height. We all want to see that. Therefore, Madam Speaker, to be candid, left to me alone, the issue of this retired person, we should look at it. That means we are not encouraging our young ones. We are not encouraging them, and we should encourage them. We should encourage them so that they can reach where these old ones reaches. If they come, maybe they may not in fact perform well because things changes. You were there since 40 years or more than that. Even you come back, do you think you'll be able to perform well? I start just taking example of, at the educational sector. People who have PTC, HTC, somebody who have PTC, you want to give him to man a school. And there is somebody who have PTC, HTC with other experience. And this other person has only HTC and other experience. Or university. But this other one went all. The one who went all will perform well. There is nothing that we can say that, yes, we can give appointment to these people. Because for me, I cannot look at their CVs right now and make a decision. And we should encourage our females also.
Can I observe you?
Yes, thank you very much.
I just want to observe you, madam. I want to observe you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can you Honorable. No, you will have a chance.
God, I'm taking note.
Honorable member, honorable mover, please. Yes. You will have a chance.
I just want him to clarify something.
With all due respect, that's not the procedure. You will have a chance to explain.
No,
yeah.
I mean,
no,
I
please.
just want him to clarify something. I'm taking
no,
notes.
you will have a chance. Can we follow the quorum, please? You will have a chance to clear all those things.
Okay.
every little thing that has been raised, issue that has been raised, you will have an opportunity to rectify, clarify, or respond. Thank you. Honorable Member for Sabah Sanjal, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Sorry, I don't have it.
You are not the speaker, please.
No, I'm not. Honorable. Yeah. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
On you. Yeah,
let
continue.
us not rush when somebody is on his.
You see, that is why.
You see, everybody
I will
will have
tell
your
you.
time when you come.
No, please, let me tell you. That is the reason why it is always good to involve the chair. If you deal directly, I wouldn't know, but if you had sought permission from the chair, then I would have known that you are not yet done.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. What I was trying to say is pertaining to experience. You know, experience is good, but Madam, it has to go with the actual certificate that you have undergone through. You may have experience, but when it comes to the knowledge content, Madam Speaker, you cannot do anything with that. You must listen to the young ones, because you are only banking on the experience, and for them, they have the knowledge content. That's what, in fact, I cited. I said, somebody can have HTC, university, and somebody can have PTC, HTC, university. But when it comes in terms of that, the one who have undergone all will perform well, because he has everything. He has experience, he has the knowledge content. That's what I want to, put it. So therefore, Madam Speaker, let us give chance to young ones, and specifically ladies. So, and let us not rush, please. Let us take our time. Let us not just come and sit down here, and it was not the idea of it. When any appointment that we are doing, we requested their credentials. We look at them. If they meet the requirement, we give it to them. If they don't meet, let them go and look for something else. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for you.
Honorable Member for Sabah Sanjal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. Madam Speaker, I first of all want to say thanks to the committee for their work. But I will also express my dissatisfaction and I'm surprised to what is happening in the floor today. Because this, as other speakers have said, this was extensively debated here, and nobody was talking about the way what I'm hearing today.
Point of observation, ma'am. Point of observation. Can I please observe?
I don't allow you to observe me,
please.
I don't allow you to observe me, please.
Then you are not.
Madam Speaker, going by some of these statements, uttered here, I want to remind ourselves that we have a committee, as the honourable member for Willie West have said. The role of the committee is to fast-track the process and the work of the parliament. So if committees come here with their report, we don't honor it, and we are distracted. How are we going? How are we going now? This is a problem. I think this debate was done here. Everybody talked about the experience of these people, their position, the role they played in the military field, some of them, and the experience they have in other schools. Now the request from the plenary was the evidence of those credentials. And evidence have been provided. I think it was not mentioned that the parliament should scrutinize this evidence again, like what I'm hearing today. That is why I say I'm surprised. What I was expecting is, if these evidence are given, I think that should be enough and fair for us to accept or disaccept what is happening, rather than going through this debate again, which is going to take a lot of time. Madam Speaker, some of the comments I want to buttress. The qualifications, as I said earlier, these people have given us this thing. If you go through this, you will see. I don't think it is required for us to go through them within days or weeks. For a few minutes, you should be able to know whether this person acquired this or not. The other issue is the the experience and the CVs were presented on the day of tabling this motion. So if somebody is asking that their CV, then it is a doubt to me, because CVs were given during the tabling of the report. The other point is, Madam Speaker, if you look at the personnel that's supposed to fill this position, who tell us that there are no female? Who is the vice president? Is the vice president not a female? The vice president is a female. And some of these positions, who knows that they are male or female? So I think let us think positively, and we believe that we are building a nation. Some of these sentiments, for me, I don't talk this way. But today I'm really touched. I don't like this type of that. Sorry for my intervention, actually. Sorry for what I have said. But Madam Speaker, I am not happy with the way the debate is going right now, because committees are not given their dues. If a committee is given a task to perform, I think when they report, we should honorably humble that task. But when committee come with their report, it is another start of work. I think this is not good. It's not the right way. I'm sorry for whatever I have said, if it hits anybody, but this is my opinion. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Central Badibu, honorable member.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the floor. He should be here. Madam Speaker, on a more serious note, I think the business before us is timely and is long overdue. And I believe it's in the right direction, since it's constitutional, which is evident in Section 189 of our Constitution. Madam Speaker, after going through the CVs, I went through the CVs of various nominees, and I have scrutinized it, though I will thank the committee for the effort done, but not satisfied with your work. Madam Speaker, my personal observations that I have made pertaining to one of the nominees by name, Mr. Mamadou Ndaunjai, as previous speakers made mention during our first debate, but I want to correct the assembly that the debate, it was only few people who debated on the motion. Then we refined. It was not the whole assembly. It was few people who debated on it when Honorable Member of Jara East came with the issue of certificates. Then members said, let us refer it to the committee for further scrutiny. But all of us were not given opportunity to talk. Madam Speaker, after going through the CV of Mr. Mamadou Ndaunjai, academically or educationally, I haven't seen much. But professionally, we can see he had quite experience in the military. Madam Speaker, and if you look at the Constitution, the people that should fill this gap, we expect them to have experience. We expect them to deliver, to advise the president, to be administratively inclined. But if you look at Mr. Mamadou Njai, since 1993, we have to find out what was he doing and how was he relieved from the military. Madam Speaker, these are my arguments. The reason why I'm not supporting his nomination. One, since 1993 to date, what was he doing? He has been military detached. So we need somebody who is in the system, or even not in the system, will be able to add value to the work. Not only to nominate the person, yes, he has the military experience, but as of now, who is he? From the military, what type of work he was doing? How was he connected to the administrative works? Because we need somebody who can give value when it comes to administrative works and when it comes to military. And by the way, our security sector, we need reforms. The person that we are going to nominate must add value to the security sector reform that is undergoing right now. I don't think Mr. Njai will serve for the purpose. Madam Speaker, the other reason is the people that we should nominate must have at least financial background and they must have knowledge in budgeting. By looking at his CV, I haven't seen any background in him having any financial idea or budgeting that he can add value to. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, his impartiality and neutrality is in question. The little research that I have made from those in military, from the gendarmerie to the army, shows that during his active days in the service, he was not a man of impartiality and neutrality. That's my personal findings. So on that note, I don't nominate him to be in such position. Furthermore, Madam Speaker, my colleagues talk about gender representation. If you look at the other positions in the Constitution, with your permission, the Vice President is a woman, the chairperson. We don't doubt that one. But when you look at the Minister, is a woman, is a man. The Chief of Defense Staff is a man. Armed Forces Chief of Staff is a man. The Commander of the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force, we don't have Air Force, but those people are men. No, coming to the Permanent Secretary, she's a woman, we know that. But the representation is not balanced. So we are with the opinion that we can have at least 2 or 1 to be part of the Vice President and the other woman, so that at least when it comes to issues, they can also contribute. We have them here. We have the potential in this country. We can tap them. We have them. So we are not talking about an individual woman representation, honorable member of Sabah Senjal. We are looking at the ratio here. We want our selections to be gender sensitive. The world is moving. Madam Speaker, coming to Mr. Diba, I am fully in support of Mr. Diba's nomination. He's not. I don't know him. My nomination is not based on regionalism. It's not based on personal relationship with him, but based on his caliber as a person and the value that he will add to this committee. Madam Speaker, this council, since we all agree that it's the first of its kind, and we want the council to deliver, then we need to give it to people who can steer the wheel. And I have no doubt in Mr. Diba, he has the energy, he has the enthusiasm, he has the knowledge, he has the social rapport to deliver. Madam Speaker, by looking at his CV, he's a strategist. He's a social worker. He has been a policy analyst. And he served in our institutions internally and even externally in the foreign service. Madam Speaker, by looking at his background, I have no doubt in his administrative or managerial skills. And in the army, in the council now, we need such people to help us, to be making write-ups. We need people whose pens are very heavy, who can use the pen very well, who can use the mind to make a change with the system. Madam Speaker, there is a unit, the Research and Development Unit under Section 189, subsection 3F, the establishment of research and development units in each service. I believe, being an educationist, being a strategist, he can really add value to this unit, because he has been doing it. He did it before. By looking at his CV, his experience is quite enough to support this unit. Madam Speaker, coming to the welfare of the military, is somebody who has a vision and a mission to transform institutions. So his coming will add value to promote the welfare of the military in this country, so that our military will be nationalized, so that our military will be the military of Gambia, not to see foreign military dominating our sector. Madam Speaker, broadening the scope and the work of the military in this country so that they can measure up to international standards or within this sub-region, I believe his input will be highly needed in that area. Madam Speaker, the motion before us on this nomination is timely, as I said, since our military is in serious disarray, you all witness it, and we are on a transition. Gambia is a sovereign republic, it's an independent state. We want our military to be in charge of our own affairs. And without this council, it will be difficult to Gambianize our military. Yes, we have the Senegalese, we have the ECOMOG here, based on a reason known to us. But do we want them to continue staying in this country? We call it a sovereign state, an independent state. We don't want that. And it's time for us to have capable people in this council who will think for Gambia, who will ensure that Gambia is militarily independent. So, Madam Speaker, this nomination is very important. Those who think that it's easy, yes, the committees have done their work, so why should we talk? No. I think they are not afraid with their standing orders and the procedures that govern us in this parliament. Yes. It's the preliminary that decides. It's not the committees. Then don't come here, decide there. The purpose of coming here for us to share our ideas. We debate. At the end of the day, we vote. So we are not underrating the effort of any committee members here. But here is the place to make a decision. This is what we are making. If you cannot make or you don't have input, please go there and drink coffee. Madam Speaker, the other one is
Honorable, let's be civil in our language, please.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, the other one will be, sorry, I made a lot of research, you know. Madam Speaker, going by the CV of Mr. Diba, we have seen how he contributed in the professional development of students at Management and Development Institute, MDI. So he has been always with the people, young people, you know, and he is already ready to give service. So, Madam Speaker, I have no doubt that Mr. Diba's nomination is in the right direction and he will add value to this council. And I'm urging all my honorable members to support his nomination. And I'm appealing to the honorable members, we drop Mr. Momodou Njai and replace him with a woman. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Ilyasa.
Hello, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'll be so brief, simple because this Mr. Ndao and Mr. Diba, it is a very delicate issue. And we should be very much careful and selecting the best among them. I have gone through the CV of Ms. Andau, and I need certain clarification on 2 points. But before comment that, one of my colleagues, they were saying that we should consider the young ones. Although it's not bad, but as far as this person is concerned, we need experienced people and also who are so matured and they'll be committed, and also they'll be sincere and ready to deliver. Because, Madam Speaker, it's not part that I'm just trying to criticize people, but my experience. Although I don't know much about Mr. Diba, as far as I am concerned, I know something about her now. So whether the committee concerned, whether they have scrutinized his personal attitude during he was at the gendarmerie, because it's very important before appointing somebody at this high post, you have to consider certain things in him. First one, Madam Speaker, his or her personality and his commitment and his sincerity and also his attitude within the society. So that's very important. So when I go through the CV of Chandau, I was surprised. Because he attended Bagua Primary School in 1958, and he was graduated in 1961. It means that he only served only three years at Bagua Primary School. That was the question mark. Madam Speaker, I think we are not here to criticize people, but you should be very much careful. Somebody is going to advise the president. And also, if you go to the Gambia School, I just want them to, if you can allow me to read. I confirm our telephone conversation of this morning to the effect that in June 1967, Mohamed M. Daou started West Africa Examination Council, GCE examination with the following result. Why telephone conversation? That's my doubt. So I need this two clarification from the mover. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Member for Lower Salum.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Much has been said by the colleagues, but then I have issues that I want to also talk about. And then the nominees of these people by the councils. Although Honorable Member for Woolly West has also taken us through on the professionalism of these people. But the reason given assigned the committee to do their work, I think to bring issues that was known by the plenary. But then the work to committee goes to zero. But then it's better than before refer to any matters to the committee. We deal with the plenary, then we go with it. Because plenary cannot make observations, then we come back again, we said the committee members, this is the work that we want. It's not like that. I think it's better we deal with the issues here at the floor of the House than referring to the committee. To me, it has no use. I'm sorry for saying that. Two, they were saying we should give young ones to come up. How many of them here, during their elections, give young ones to context? Being a principled man doesn't mean to use sentiments on issues. Let them all retire and give it to the youth ones. This country must go. We cannot use sentiment. Giving out these people these positions is worth it, Honorable Speaker. They are 70, 80s. They are sitting here, 69. And they context with young ones down there. They never give any chance to young ones. Today, now they are coming and they said, let's give young ones to work. What you people are saying is not real in you. Honorable. How many young ones are here? Yankuba, Honorable Omar Sise, Semi Jawara, Amar Kamara, and they are all grandpas. Honorable. No, sorry to say.
Honorable, no, coming. The debate is on the report. The response on those issues will be given by the movement. Just debate on the report as they move.
Yeah, no, the reason why I say so, because of the issues of young ones are coming. I'm a young one. Honorable, let's work the betterment of this country than using sentiments. Honorable, I beg to take my seats. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for the Minority Leader, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, I don't know what will be my role being a member of the committee, but I will try my best. Honorable Speaker, let me thank my colleague for for the critics against our report. That's wonderful. Honorable Speaker, the committee was tasked to go and make findings and then come back to plenary. And that's what the committee did. And the reason was, when we started to debate on this motion, some honorable members made an observation requesting for credentials. And then it was referred to a committee. And then I think the committee have did that. We went and then come with certificate and CV for Ndaunjai. Honorable Speaker, the committee, I would defend my committee. The committee did what it is supposed to do. If you look at the function, the reason why, because this Armed Forces Council should compose of the Vice President, Minister being responsible for defense, the Chief of Staff, the Armed Forces Chief of Staff, the Commander of the Army and the Navy, the Permanent Secretary, and two others that this assembly is supposed to confirm. Honorable Speaker, let me start with Ndaunjai. When this motion was introduced here, we had something very positive about Ndaunjai, calling him a household name in this country. What makes him a household name in this country? He must do something to be, at least to be given that recognition. And then that's what was said in this August Assembly. And then the committee went, we were unable to get his CV. And Honorable Speaker, he attended Gambia High School. And then he got English credit, GCO level in those days. French credit, biology credit, mathematics credit. Then you have geography, pass, chemistry, pass, oral English, pass. So, to me, if you look at the foundation of his education, the foundation, because anything, if the foundation is solid, then the rest can be solid. Let's look at in those days, if you get this result. Nowadays, Honorable Speaker, I'm not a teacher, but the teachers, you know, you can compare GCO level at that time and now. To me, you can compare them with a university degree. You can compare them, when it comes to education, you can compare them with somebody from the university, somebody who got GCO level with this, with this result. Honestly, you can compare him with a degree holder from the university now. Sure. No, you know, we just have to be realistic on what we are doing. And then if we look at the function reads, the function of the armed forces. It reads the principal function of the armed forces are to preserve and defend the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Gambia, to aid the civil authorities at their request in emergency and in cases of natural disaster. Then C, to engage at the request of the civil authority in productive activities such as agriculture, engineering, health, and education for the development of this country. There is another issue also that also talk about helping the president in promotion of officers from a lieutenant colonel or equivalent. So here now we have two nominees. That is Mr. Yusuf Adiba and Mr. Momadou Ndao. The committee look at these two people based where they come from. If you look at Mr. Yusuf Adiba's CV, you don't question whether he can decide perfect policy or whether he can advise them on perfect policy and strategy. And you reflect what is some function of the army when it comes to agricultural production. He also is an agriculturalist. The committee have looked at all these things. Then the committee then identified definitely Mr. Yusuf Adiba can be an advisor to the president when it comes to policies and other matters. Then you go to Colonel Ndao Njai. Now we look at is where the committee feel when it comes to other issues that are related to in restructuring the army, advise the president on promotion. Then we looked at where he comes from now. We look at his experience. Let's look at his CV. Key experience. In 1991 to 1994, the Republic of the Gambia, ambassador to Republic of France. For me, that one is not. Let me go down. That is on the 1, 2, 3, 4, on the fourth paragraph. From 1967 to 1991, his military career. Gambia Field Force aide de camp, ADC, Gambia National Gendarmerie. After rising through the rank within the Gambia Field Force, I was appointed as the aide de camp to the president, Alhaji Sado Dakairaba Jawa. At the time, I was the longest serving ADC. My responsibilities include traveling with the president domestically and internationally, while also serving as his sole security and personal aide while in abroad. When overseas, I would also assist the protocol officers in his duty as ADC. I had to accompany the president at all times. Let me not read the whole paragraph. Then you go to the Gambia Armed Force, the next page. Here, Colonel Ndao Njai speaking. I was tasked by the president to create an armed force for the Republic of the Gambia to carry out this task. I had the support of a small British Army training team, but comprising of British Army officers who worked under my command initially. I held the command of the Army and the Gendarmerie. As a commander of the Gambia Armed Force, the Marine unit, which later became the Gambia Naval Force, were also under my command. This responsibility meant that I was ultimately responsible for the prevention of trafficking, poaching, and the defense of the Gambia territorial water. I initially raised the the Army 1st Battalion based in Yundu. This is called Nengdaunjai. And then commenced raising a 2nd in Farafenye. Both battalions are operational today. During this time, I took a leading role in the creation of the Senegambia Confederation Armed Force, involving elements from both countries. During my military career, I received much of my training in the United Kingdom. I undertook all armed drilling training in Pibribe, my basic officer training at the Royal Military Academy in Sandhurst, followed by a 2nd in Steen and Sandhurst for senior, commander, and general staff training, where I received my past senior staff college. I also completed an attachment to the Royal Staffordshire Infantry Regiment, where I undertook the British commander on all aspects of command in time of peace and war, as well as my UK-based training. I also attended École de Guerre War College in Paris, where I was able to hone my strategy military skill. If you look at all these things, and then you knew that this Armed Force Council, it needs an experienced military personnel to at least definitely add value on our military reform that we are undergoing. And then I think this is what the committee looked at and then recommended Ndaunjai. And then here in this assembly, we all debated. He was a household name. Even me, I have mentioned it. In those days, during independence, everybody want to go and observe and watch independence. It's because of his professional marching skills. All young people in those days, when it is independent, after Njai march toward President Jawara, we all dispersed. So definitely nobody questioned his professionalism and skill in the military, So my colleagues, I think this is what the committee did. The committee have did justice to make sure that we give you and advise you what you are supposed to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Fonyi Bondali.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me the floor. What I want to say is already mentioned by the member for Nyamina Dankunku and the minority leader. I want to urge this assembly, if we are going to nominate one, let us leave it. We cannot nominate one and leave the other one. If you look at the certificate and the curriculum of Mr. Diba, I would advise this assembly to send Mr. Diba to go to agriculture to advise our agriculture rather than to go to the military base. I will advise. But you cannot say, let's nominate Mr. Diba and leave Mr. Ndaunjai. We cannot do it. We are all here for the Gambian people. And we are here not only for our own political interests. We are here for the interests of this nation. So, Madam Speaker, is this what I have for today? I beg to take my seat.
Thank you. Fonyi Bintang, Honorable Member for Fonyi Bintang Karala.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving the floor. I think, Madam Speaker, security is one of the most important sectors in our land. Any country that has peace, it lies on the security of that nations. So for that being the case, we should try to approve a person who is qualified enough and who can add value and have the external background to this Armed Forces Council. Madam Speaker, for me, I think I disagree with some people who are saying that whatever the committee brings, because we send them to go and do a work for us, we should approve it. No, we are not here. We are not here when the committee brings anything, whether good or bad, we approve it. No. We have, why they are coming to, why if they are coming back to the preliminary, here is the approving body. We just give them a tax to go and do. They are not perfect. Nobody is perfect. So when they come, you also have to go through it and look at it and know if it is the interest of the nation. You go through it and pass it. But if we feel that it's not for the interest of the nation, we are not going to accept it. Madam Speaker, for me, the way I have seen it, I think it is very, very important. Some of people talk about the experience of some of these people, especially in Lawanjai. Yes, he has the experience, but for me, I think it has gone beyond experience only. This position is a very, very important position. It has to go with academic qualifications. And for the credential I've seen for Lawanjai here, honestly, I'm not convinced with him, with the credential I've seen here. For me, for Mr. Diba, maybe, because honestly, even Mr. Diba, this was first research now, when this is on. We cannot go thoroughly. So I think next time, if the committee is bringing something to us, they should give us early, if it's early in the morning or the day before, so that we can go through it and can make decisions. But if we are debating and we bring this to us, sometimes it will be very difficult for us to know exactly and pass judgments. So for me, Madam Speaker, I think other speaker has said it all. Let's place the people, the right people at the right place. That is what I want. It doesn't mean that when the committee comes, whether wrong or right, we should approve it. No. For me, my problem is now, if possible, let him go and bring more papers that can convince me that he is the right person to be at this position. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, nominated member, Honorable Samusa.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Madam Speaker, I repeat, I thank you for giving me the floor to associate myself again with the previous speakers. Madam Speaker, it's all about change. Whenever you have change, you always see yourself in a new development. New development in the sense I served the First Republic, Second Republic. Madam Speaker, that's why I'm privy to say that, because I've not think of this kind in the history of the Gambia has ever been tabled in this August House. Madam Speaker, I've heard the previous speakers, people make their, observations and comments about the qualification of the applicants. Yes. But, Madam Speaker, may I make this clear to you or known to you that these two applicants are personally known to me. I don't need to go through their qualification papers to see, because I know where they pass. Personally, Yusufa and Ndaunjai. I enrolled in the Gambia Police Force in 1973 when Ndaunjai was in the field force. Then we don't have the army. We don't have the army, neither the gendarme as yet. He was my field instructor in 1973 in the drill.
when he came from Sandpost himself and Sergeant Kaba Tunkara. I know this man. I have no doubt, personally, I have no doubt, not only even beyond this position, which he's entitled to, he's acquired, he can manage. Academically, when it comes to the security matter, I know him. I know him well. I have no doubt. You see, how old were some people who were making comments? Because, you see, one has to be honest with yourself. Don't use the opportunity of the position that you have. And you try to play in this August house with the gallery by castigating, by saying something against somebody who cannot defend he or herself in this August house, which you cannot. You yourself saying something that you can substantiate it, Madam Speaker. If you are discrediting somebody, you are disqualifying somebody, you have to come with something that can convince if anybody has to be true. Let us not, you see, try to politicize and personalize issues. This is Gambia. We are not dealing with foreigners. I think, Madam Speaker, we have to scrap and throw our standing order, because I'm saying that this August House, people are not seem to be understand, have regard for our standing order to committees that the standing order has established. Let's give respect to our committees. We all belong to committees. Gambia is our Gambia. Madam Speaker, Gambia is our Gambia. When you have the opportunity to come to this August House, you have to be very mindful and to be very honest that you are representing the whole world is looking at you. And the Almighty God is watching you of what you do. Whether it is commensurate with your, in your heart, in your case, what you say. I have no doubt as far as these two applicants are concerned. Madam Speaker, these are the Gambians we need in this sector. These are, we need, when you come to security, what do you need? You need somebody who has experience. Security? You're talking about 20 years? Young people, 20 years security? You better go and read and learn and know what is the security and compare the country with other countries who are the security heads. Security is not an institution of a joking place. That's where the life of the citizens lies. 24/7, they are watching, they are protecting us through the help of the Almighty God. They are sleeplessly watching, you are enjoying, you are sleeping, because you have somebody who is outside at your door, standing at your door watching, so that you will not be challenged or to be attacked. So in that institution needs somebody, understand, who has experience. Particularly the council members need somebody who has experience. There's nobody in this country that you can bring on top of Ndaunjai as far as history is concerned. His professionalism when it comes to security. When Ndaun was leaving the service 27 years ago, some people were categorizing saying things. How old were they? What was their age? Young people, yes. We are fathers, I'm a father and a grandfather. am a father and a grandfather, Honorable Speaker. That is why when I was appointed as a minister, I declined, Madam Speaker, considering my age. Considering my age, Madam Speaker, I declined. I have a reason. Likewise, Honorable Member for Willie West. That is why Member for Serakunda Center. Member for Serakunda, Madam Speaker. We declined, we said, let's give chance to young people. We are the individual people who we are can bust in this country. But when you talk about don't let us not try to falsify the situation. You cannot force the young people when actually that's not in you. You talk about young people when you are 80, 75 to 80 years. You are talking about young people? Why don't you decline before you come to this National Assembly? I lend my support to the member for Lower Salum. It's very clear. You talk about the young people. And you are 80, 75, 65. Young people. Yes, up to 35. But you are 45, 46, 47, 48, 50, 55. Are you young? You are a father. 75, you are a grandfather. I'm a grandfather and a father, Madam Speaker. So that's not the question. When we are here, let's deal with the issue. Honestly, as Gambians, we need competent people to represent the Gambian people in the institution. Let's not bring politics here. Gambians are working. Now there's nothing hidden. Whatever you do here, you cannot fool anybody. Whatever you are saying here, you yourself know, and the people are watching what you are saying, whether it's true or not. They analyze. Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, on that note, I'm not saying I'm begging to move yet, but I lend my support to the appointed select committee standing committee for appointment of these applicants. I lend my support to them. The good job they have done, and I'm not seeing any irregularity, any delay that they have done. These certificates, just 2 minutes, 1 minute, you go through it, as a member for Sabasanjal has said. If somebody don't want to make it as an issue, you don't want to make it as an scapegoat that you want to capitalize that. No. When we come here, I always said, let's leave politics at the gate. Let's deal with the issue. That's more important. I've heard some people what they have said here. Yes, some people were headmasters, Madam Speaker. Some people were principals, some people were directors some other places before. They left. Why they come to the National Assembly? Why they did not give their young people who were in the university? Why they don't do that? How can they come here? They say young people, the way young people. When you taught people they are in the university, they left the university. They are jobless. You struggle with them in the arena. I can bring the file. Any member here understand? Anybody above the age of 50, you've been struggling with young people at the age of 21 in order to come to this National Assembly. And you have taken the oath here. Remember, you have taken the oath. It's a Quran or the Bible. You have taken it. You have to be very mindful. The language you use in this August here. God is watching you. God is watching all of us of whatever we said in this August House. Madam Speaker, on that note, I beg to move.
Thank you very much. Can I call on the honorable member for Kian East? Was it Kian? Can you raise your tag? Yes. Yeah, Jara, yes. But Kian East.
Okay.
I just want to put you on record.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. I would like to begin my intervention by responding to some of the comments that are made here by some of the speakers who spoke before me. Honorable Mr. Ndaunjai, when the report was laid here last week, he was mentioned as a household name in the Gambia. But the fact that he was mentioned as the household name in the Gambia does not necessarily mean that he is perfect. Perhaps those who mentioned him as the household name in the Gambia last week are not necessarily the same people who suddenly turned around and started speaking against him. We have been told by several speakers about the positions that he held in the previous administrations, in the previous regimes. But for me, having worked in the government, having worked in different administrations for long, does not necessarily translate into good merit. Of course, we know that people have been promoted here in the previous administrations, in the previous regimes, whose appointments or promotions were not based on merit. They were just moved up the ladder based on some other reasons. We are dealing with a very important issue. The Gambia is going through important processes of security reform. And this particular council is supposed to play a very important role. Now, when we make appointments, when we make recommendations for appointment, the candidates that are nominated to fill in these positions, I think it makes a lot of sense to scrutinize them properly. So our debate today on these candidates does not necessarily mean that people have personal vendetta against these people. We are trying to do our work as legislators. We are going to make sure that finally, when we nominate, it is in the best interest of people. So we cannot personalize these things. Whatever we say against them, we are doing it in the best interest of people because we have to scrutinize them properly. These appointments last week were referred to a committee after some debate, and some people claim it was an extensive debate. It wasn't. It wasn't an extensive debate. After a few people debated on it, the Honorable Member for Jara East moved a motion that it be referred to the committee because some documents were absent. So when those documents are released, were made available to the committee, and the committee came back again, I think in all fairness, we should look at these documents, scrutinize them again. So I don't see anything wrong with that, Honorable Speaker. Let us be fair with ourselves. You know, in fact, the reason why committees report to plenary is for the plenary to further discuss and scrutinize these things before we adopt the report. There is nothing wrong with that. It would have been a very terrible mistake had we, you know, had we approved the committee's report without any debate on it, because there are very relevant issues that we are talking about today that would not have been discussed. Now, I want to refer the committee to the report, page 4. where it says, guided by the relevant provisions of the Constitution and after a thorough review of their individual CVs and credentials, the committee hereby recommend as follows. And one, it says, the Assembly to confirm the appointment of retired Colonel Mohamed Ndaunjai and Mr. Yusuf Babukar Diba as members of the Armed Forces Council for reasons that A, the candidates acquired a requisite knowledge with experience or qualifications to be appointed members of the armed forces. Now, here it says requisite knowledge. How do we verify that? We verify that through the documents that they submit to the Assembly. With the case of Mr. Diba, we have certificates. Certificates are presented. But with Ndaunjai, apart from his general certificate of education O-level results, no certificate is attached. And we are told that he attended a lot of trainings in different parts of the world, mainly in UK, especially in Sandhurst. We have not seen, it may be true, but to convince us that indeed he attended these institutions, to convince us that indeed he did these trainings, we need certificates to verify that. What prevented him from submitting his certificates to those trainings, certificates of those trainings? You know, when we discuss things, let us look at evidence, solid evidence that is lying right in front of us. I think it makes a lot of sense. You know, we cannot be talking here, shouting and assuming things that are not actually real. What prevented him from submitting his certificates from Sandhurst and other military institutions that he claimed he had trained in? We need those ones. Okay? And then B, the candidate has exhibited impeccable character in their record of employment with both the public service and the army. For Ndaunjai again, we know that he was the commander of the Gambia Armed Forces, I think in around the 1983s or so. We know that. But then again, this is the same man who, during his tenure as the Armed Forces commander, the army were not happy with him. They were disgruntled. They were demotivated under him. And evidence of that was from the TRRC, when some military men testified in the TRRC, and he was adversely mentioned. So to say that he has an impeccable character is questionable, and we want the Honorable Minister to explain that, or the mover to explain that, sorry. And then on point C, the candidates are seasoned persons in their respective subject matter. Again, we need solid documents, hard copies of documents to prove those things. Here, in the case of Ndaunjai, he has not shown us any evidence of any military training, no infantry training. This is what he produced, and all of us have a copy of it. So can the mover of the motion please tell us and convince us with solid documentation that indeed Mr. Njai has gone through all these trainings? So you see, this is why in the beginning I said, look, sometimes it is not enough to make our decisions based only on recommendation provided by the committee, the select committee. With all due respect to them, we have given them an assignment. They did the assignment, came back to us, and I think in all fairness, we should look at the assignment properly. We should scrutinize it, debate it thoroughly before we finally accept it. This is why, because for me, there are a lot of flaws in these things. There are a lot of unanswered questions, and I would like the mover of the motion to clarify those issues. On that note, I beg to take my seat. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Member, yes, Member for Serekunda West. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. I want to commend the committee for their report, but nonetheless, I have some observations on the report. Madam Speaker, like other speakers have said, select committees or standing committees are part and parcel of the bigger group. And the fact that we give assignment to them, there are reasons. But of course, if you give somebody an assignment to do, you also have the right, if you have doubts about the assignment, to point it out. And that is what we are exactly doing here. In the life of this parliament, we had committee reports that unanimously was accepted because the general body were happy with the outcome of the report. In this case, it's different, so we cannot treat them equally. We have two important nominees before us. Yes, nobody will doubt that one of them was an armed soldier, first commander of our armed forces, put up all the structures in the army, but of course not single-handedly. He did that with a team. If he is not academically qualified enough to serve in this position as compared to the second nominee, there are others with whom he had worked in different disciplines of the army. Not necessarily you have to be the army commander to serve in this position. The Navy is there, and other sectors of our armed forces. There are well-respected and qualified people amongst them that they can give us as a second nominee. But as far as this scanty resume of Honorable Ndao Njai is concerned, this will not convince us. Ndao Njai would not have any chance or opportunity to do any serious military training because from the field force, and we all know, I would have been happy if the honorable nominated member is here. Yes, he may be older than me, but not far from me. Whatever he has seen, I have seen it. The field force then, education does not matter. When he was in the field force and there was a need to have an army, he was appointed. How, I don't know. Being the commander of the armed forces, with that caliber of education, he would have no other opportunity to go for any serious military training because of his position in the army. Because he will not go and leave his lieutenants to take over and then he go and study. So where the appointment found him is where he was until today. Therefore, let the nominating officers give us a second nominee and drop Ndao Njai. And we can ask ourselves also, if you are saying he's a household name, he has did that, done that, did that in the army, fine. But could we also ask ourselves, why was he removed as head of the army? Could we dig into those reasons also and know whether he's credible enough to be an advisor? And mark you, the role of these two people are very key. Their task is to advise the president on all matters of policy relating to defense and strategy, including the role of the armed forces. Also, to advise the president on promotions of officers. If Ndao did not have that good rapport with the rest of the members of the army, would he not use this position to fight our soldiers, make them angry? And if the soldiers are angry, what will happen? What happened in 1994 will come back again. We cannot afford this country to go back to military rule. So we must be very careful of who we choose to be in this committee because the person's responsibilities are enormous and very important. I, for one, am not supporting the nomination of Ndao Njai to this position because I'm not happy with his credentials, because there's no certificate attached. These are just a resume of where he went and what he has done. From the field force to being the head of the armed commander. Then even the police, education does not matter. They just pick them and then throw them into police and the army, and the field force rather. Those caliber of people cannot be advisors to this current generation of soldiers who are well educated. We can afford that. Honorable Speaker, the second one has given us evidence. We want to work on evidence. If the committee still thinks that now has evidence, then we can propose put this debate off until he is able to give us the evidences that Diba has given us. Thank you.
Yes, Jara East. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Parliament is a marketplace for ideas. Parliament is an embodiment of the interest of the people. That's the long and short of Parliament. Parliament is where decisions bordering on life and death are deliberated. Therefore, Madam Speaker, whatever we are going to do here must be based on evidence. And I believe fervently our decisions will be preceded by evidence. And I will say, let us also work with our hearts and minds. Evidence must precede decision. You see, all our actions and reactions as lawmakers must be within the permissive contours of the law. That's very clear. Madam Speaker, I will defer this August Assembly to our usual opening prayers, and with your indulgence, I read, Almighty God, who in thy wisdom and goodness has appointed the officers of rulers and parliament for the welfare of society and just government of men. Men here is generic, men and women. We beseech thee to behold with thy abundant favor us, thy servants, whom thou hast been pleased to call to the performance of important trust in this land. Let thy blessing descend upon us here in this house assembled. Grant us that we may treat
I think
and
we've
consider...
already performed the prayers.
Yes, that's why I say with your indulgence. I'm just laying a foundation. I'm coming. Second prayer. Okay. As it pleases you, madam, grant us that we may treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner, to promote thy honor and glory, to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of this country, and of those whose interests, on the line, of those whose interests thou hast committed to our church. Madam Speaker, you don't need to be a linguist to know what this means. It's self-explanatory. It's as easy as ABC. So we are here to defend the interests of those who are placed under our charge. And in doing that, Madam Speaker, it must be characterized by a sense of dispassion. That is not taking sides. It must be characterized by a sense of dispassion that is not favoring A or not favoring B. But we must also give cognizance to Section 112. That is, we are going to speak here based on our conscience and the interests of the Gambian people. This is why we are here. Madam Speaker, having said that, allow me to felicitate one of the nominees in the person of Ndao Njai. Before me is his resume, and on the cover page I have seen an award of insignia. Madam, this is not a small feat. And this insignia was given to him beyond the shores of the Gambia, in France, by the French president. Madam Speaker, I want to congratulate Mr. Ndao Njai for achieving this insignia. It is not a small feat, it's a great achievement. It means that Mr. Ndau has proved his mettle. That's why he was conferred with this insignia. And I want to congratulate him for having achieved this insignia. Madam Speaker, we have two dossiers, one belonging to Mr. Ndaunjai and that of Mr. Yusuf Babakar Diba. I will start with Mr. Ndaunjai's CV. Madam Speaker, I am on record for having said here that Mr. Ndaunjai is a household name, and I have reasons to advance. And I also said here, during my formative stages as a child, I used to hear Mr. Njai's name when he was in the Gambia National Gendarmerie, and which was eventually amalgamated into the Gambia National Army. We must give the devils his due. Mr. Njai took over the Gambia National Army when it was in its fledgling state, when the army was in its embryonic stage, when the army was crawling, trying to work, trying to get a foothold. I must thank him for that. But Madam Speaker, I have qualms, and I have a bone to pick with Mr. Njai, that I have an issue to pick with him when it comes to his qualification. Madam Speaker, it is noted here that he sat to the O-levels in August 1967 after a 3-year stint at Bakau Primary School. And I want to ask the mover as to why he did not serve the whole 5 years, because we know, sorry, 6 years, I beg your pardon. Primary school is grade 1 to 6 or grade 1 to 6. But he had a 3-year stint at Bakau Primary School. I have flagged that. Number 2, you see, Madam Speaker, we are lucky. This parliament is full of teachers, call them runaway teachers, rats. And we are dealing with the business of education. I, for one, Madam Speaker, without assuming any air of superiority, I used to mark for white the English scripts. So I know this thing up to my fingertips when it comes to matters dealing with certificates. And I can tell you, a certificate that is considered as honors, merit, I know it. Madam Speaker, you come to the credits. English language credit, French credits, biology credit, mathematics credit, geography school certificate pass, chemistry school certificate pass, oral English school certificate pass. Madam Speaker, our work here is to dissect, inside out and outside in of this document. That is our work. It must be subjected to total dissection with an eagle eye, for that matter. If that is not done, we are failed. The parliament cannot be taken for granted. We all, you know, we swore to our oaths. We all took an oath here. Madam Speaker, if you turn to the other one, I will read. It says, "Dear sir, with your indulgence, I confirm our telephone conversation of this morning to the effect that in June 1967, Momodu and Ndau sat the West African Examinations Council GC examinations with the following results." It reads, O-level passes in biology, English language, French. But if you go back, it says English language credits. And he sat to the exam in August of 1967. But you turn again, in June of the same year, 1967, he sat to the same O-level exams. We must understand the dichotomy between the two for us to make sense out of it. In August 1967, he sat O-level exams with the following results. You turn, in June 1967, the same year, he sat with the same exams. O-levels, biology, English language, French. But in the previous page, he earned credits in the following subjects. But when you come to the other page, his results or his marks leave much to be desired. Madam Speaker, I think that is counterintuitive. That is counterintuitive. It's contradiction of the highest order. In educational parlance, you don't call this an honor or maybe a very good results. In fact, it's below standard. Those of us who are in the business of education, he has not excelled exceedingly well. You see, Madam Speaker, in Parliament, we cannot afford to sit on the fence. We are either on the fence or not on the fence. That's it. I want the mover to give a befitting explanation as to why we have this disparity. Because ordinarily, if you write the main exams, if you have not performed well, you go for what is called private exams. But even that private exams, the duration is more than 1 month or 2 months. In our time, we take it November. When you write the exam in June, July, August, September, October, November, it is meant to give you more time to prepare yourself, to rewrite the exam that you have not performed satisfactorily well. That is the idea. But you cannot write exams in the same year, June, July, August, you write another one again. It beats imagination. Madam Speaker, I also said here, before I proceed, allow me to register my abiding gratefulness to member for Kiang East. He had definitely spoken my mind. All the observations he highlighted, I wanted to highlight them. And I intend to leave no stone unturned because I'm representing Jara East.
Sorry, Honorable, did I get you that you want to highlight the issues that have already been highlighted by the Honorable Member for Kiang East? Is that what you said?
No, I said allow me to thank the member for Kiang East for having highlighted. Yes. Thank you, because he stole my ideas.
What I was trying to avoid is just a repetition. It's okay.
All right, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, so when it comes to Mr. Njai, you see, we have to be very careful. Both Mr. Njai and Mr. Diba are deeply rooted Gambians. And both of them are gentlemen par excellence. We have no problem with that. But when it comes to the field of academia, academic qualification, Mr. Njai leaves much to be desired as opposed to Mr. Yusuf Diba. That is the fact. We have an article of evidence before us. So we are not, putting our judgments on hearsay. There abounds a preponderance of evidence with regard to their CVs. And we have them here with us. If you come to Mr. Diba's CV, you will know that, without prejudice, it's more colorful than that of Mr. Njai. It does not require much intelligence to know that Mr. Dibas has an edge over Mr. Njai when it comes to their certificates. And I said here, you want to see Mr. Njai's certificates, all levels. And we all know what certificate means. your name is embossed on a hard copy surface. And when you photocopy, just like Mr. Diba, this is article of evidence. This is article of evidence. And when I went through the Mr. Ndaunjai's documents, series of schools were mentioned, series of institutions. But those things are not here to support him. Those things are virtually absent. So, Madam Speaker, we have to be very careful, because we cannot escape the long arms of justice, neither can we escape the long arms of history. We must be quite circumspect in our dealings. What are we going to bequeath to our children and our children's children when a parliament is found, may God forbid, approving or giving a stamp of approval to a nominee whose educational background leaves much to be desired? Why are you going to explain that? Not in Jara East. Where? Not in Jara East. So, Madam Speaker, to come to the extant issue, I think I am in for Mr. Diba's approval. And I will not hesitate to give a clean bill of health to Mr. Diba's nomination, as opposed to Mr. Njai's. Madam Speaker, this is Parliament. The moment we enter here, there are no friends, no enemies, but what we have here is Gambia. That's why all of us here are the common denominator. We all have our Gambian ID card. If I can just produce mine. I have other ID card, but I will not produce that. But the Gambian ID card, I can produce it. So we are all one. And we are in the same boat. There is no witch hunting. There is no witch hunting. We are trying to fine-tune. We are trying to clean that ugly that is found in the beauty. That's what we are trying to do. So let us not take sides, Madam Speaker. Parliament is very important. Because whatever we make here, tomorrow, there will be questions. Unless I forget, Madam Speaker, Mr. Njai was adversely mentioned in the ongoing TRRC commission. He was adversely mentioned. I watch it. And the essence of the TRRC is to establish a historical account, principally to allow the country to go into healing, to forget the past. But if people who were adversely mentioned are allowed to be recycled into our body politics again, Madam Speaker, we have a problem. If this man is allowed to be recycled, we are not doing justice to TRRC. We all watch it. He was adversely mentioned. And Madam Speaker, when we said we need young people, we are not being biased. They might retire, but not tired. I agree. But Madam Speaker, before you give a portfolio to a spent force, give it to a fresh blood. That's my detached opinion. Provided the fresh blood can also perform the task equally as the spent force. Why not give priority to the fresh blood? And Madam Speaker, before I take my seat, I want to make my stance abundantly clear. I don't want to be non-committal or to sit on the fence. I'm representing Jara East. I am not in support of Mr. Ndaunjai, but I'm in support of Mr. Yusuf Diba. I want this to be crystal clear. And before I take my seat, Madam Speaker, I said in my introductory remarks that Parliament is a marketplace for ideas and a citadel of knowledge. People are in the habit of saying First Republic, Second Republic, Third Republic. It's wrong. We don't have Third Republic. We have to educate them. It's wrong. What we have is First Republic, Second Republic. The Third Republic is here to usher in. We don't have it. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Birkama North.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Earlier on, a report was laid in the morning before this August Assembly. Virtually, there was no debate. That means we had no issue with the report. Now, a report is laid, debate is entertained, simply means there are issues surrounding the report. On the basis of that, one should not be ruling out possible reports, possible debate on reports that are presented by committees. We always hope and pray circumstances of such will not prevail. But in the event it happens, let's allow the due process to take its course. What happened this morning? The report was presented to us with no credential attached. I think some people took it upon ourselves to find out why. Perhaps that could have led to the credential being available. Now that the credentials are available, I think that was the due reason why this motion was referred to the committee. We want to get the credential to ascertain what is being provided for in the CVs. So that is very important on this report from the committee that we should look at. If that was missing at one point and another it appears, suspicion may raise. It happened that one was available to the committee and they went through. And there they will be able to scrutinize, review and scrutinize, and then came to the conclusion that, yes, they have upheld the nomination based on what was presented. But then, the credentials for one was not available. That means even the committee itself could not scrutinize the credentials of the second nominee. Then therefore, altogether, we are all taking that burden to scrutinize that particular credentials. Let the committee allow us to do that and accept whatever observation we have made. It is not their fault. It could be the fault of the nominee who failed to provide necessary credentials of the committee. Can the committee simply accept that? Let's take, I will not dwell with the other one because the committee had already scrutinized that one. And before us, we have seen the certificates. We have no problem with that. Provide us with the evidence. And you have provided us with those evidence. The one that you could not, because it was not put before your committee, has been put to us. Collectively, let's all of us go through. I take you to the first one, that is the insignia. He has been awarded as the National Order of the Merit by the President of France. That is highly commendable on the nominee. The next page, that is the short biography of the nominee, Mamadou Ndaoundiaye. There, the academic results, we have English language, French and biology, mathematics credit. Geography, chemistry and oral English, school certificate pass. And underneath, there are trainings that were conducted Among the trainings, we have the all-arms drill courses and then the special courses in police studies and law among the trainees. But there are no certificates attached to ascertain these trainings that were conducted. How could we confirm and ascertain actually he underwent these trainings? We are not bothered about the academic qualification. All that we are after, all the professional qualification, all that we are after, that is a proof that you underwent these courses or training to establish the academic requirement you have and then the professional requirement that you have. If you go to the next page, that's a letter dated 15 February 1968. 15 February 1968. I confirm our telephone conversation of this morning to the effect that in June 1967, Mohamed M. Dow sat the West African Examinations Council GC examination with the following results. All level passes in biology, English language, and French. School certificate passes in chemistry, oral English, geography, and failed in history, mathematics, and physics. The side note indicated that a pass in mathematics in January 1972, certificate provided. If you compare this with what is provided in the short biography in the previous page, you will observe that physics, history is missing, and mathematics, that was recorded as credit. Now in this certificate, perhaps would-be certificate from Gambia High School, history and mathematics and physics are failed. However, it is noted that in 1972, he passed mathematics. But now, if you look at this one, it is indicated that mathematics is credit. It went further to say, he will in due course receive a certificate recording these results, but I do not expect this to reach us for some months. This was 1968. If a record that was provided since 1968 could be kept and made available to the committee, how about the certificate? When the principal is indicating to the then field force that the results will be provided in due course, not this time. Since 1968, this document is provided, but the certificate is yet to be provided. One may now even question the authenticity of this, I will not call it certificate, but so-called certificate from the Gambia High School. You go to the next page. When you look at it, I don't know whether the committee members even look at that, but you will see that this is merely a form, British Army Staff Course, a form that was made for him to attend this particular course. He filled it, but actually, did he attend it, let alone to take part in the course? Finish. This is the only submission as far as Mohamed Ndaunjai is concerned. Let's judge it by ourselves. On this basis, are we convinced that he has acquired academic qualification? I don't bother about the level of education. Even Gambia High School. Has he provided authentic certificate from Gambia High School? If he could provide a so-called certificate that was dated 1968, why could he not provide the real certificate? If that could not be provided, can we conclude honestly and sincerely that he has acquired or he had acquired that level of education? It is about the National Army. Apart from the plenary training that he underwent under the field force, There is no training regarding the army, no military training, ranging from the basic military course up to the last level. There is no indication that he went through these military courses. The training that he went through are the one that he acquired on the field force. But the military, what is provided to us, a form is issued to him to partake in a course. But did he do so? No proof of that. Can we preempt that for ourselves? There must be reasons. If you look at it, one tends to believe that he might not have underwent military trainings. The simple reason is that he was one of the most seniors in the field force when the National Army came into being. By virtue of that, he assumed the leadership position. The first recruit, 1984, underwent trainings, and those ones were available opportunities to undergo further trainings within and outside the country. The big man was sitting in the office, not building his capacity. That is assumption. And this could be very right because there is no evidence to prove that wrong. I even tend to doubt how he was acquiring the promotions, whether the promotions were based on merit. I tend to believe and know that to be a colonel, one has to do senior division to be promoted a colonel. One has to attend a war college to become a colonel. Did he acquire that? So that one tends to believe even his promotion can be questioned, could not be based on merit, except and unless he is able to provide all the certificates that can prove us wrong. Madam Speaker, I don't think we need to take time on this. The points and facts are very clear. This is a commission that should advise the president judiciously, informed decision on how our military is going to run. It was made mention here. This is going to be the first ever functioning council. It was made mention. Then we should not make any mistake to put a commission that will be tainted. On the basis of that, if we are fault anywhere, let us not hesitate to correct it, so that the president can get a proper body to give him proper advice as how our army is supposed to be run. We have brought on Ndaunjai on the basis of the requirements that are requested to be available. If they are not available, perhaps what we can do to suspend upholding his nomination until those requirements are available. We are not saying that he does not require, he does not acquire, but we want proof. We want proof. We may suspend until the proofs are available, but there is no proof in this. That is the honest thing, and the honest thing we can do is either to suspend or reject his nomination. People believe that he has the experience, but let us be provided with the proof and then get it right. Yes, he should be. But if we are not provided with the proof, this is an honorary assembly. We should take honorary responsibility and take honorary decision. This is not about pettiness. This is about principle. And this is about the truth. The truth we stand and the truth we defend. So long we continue to do that, we have a better Gambia. Our military, sometimes one will question, do we have a credible military? If throughout the course of the transition, we have the foreigners who are in command, when we have a military so reliable to take in charge, but what is stopping them? That's why we feel there's a need for that security reform, especially in the military. The key in that is the emergence of this commission, and this should be a credible one. If we have a doubt in one of them, not all, only one, what is wrong to correct that? We are helping the executive. If the executive fails, it is we who make them fail. Because here we have seen things that should be corrected, and we are trying to say no to it. If that should pass and something happen, that's not the fault of the executive. We have not seen fault in any of the nominees, but one, let's correct it. I am appealing and I beg this August Assembly, especially the members of the Public Appointment Committee, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You have done your best. The nominees should provide the materials, but fail to. In the absence of that, we cannot be convinced that he has acquired those qualifications. This is the fact, and this is the bottom line. I thank you all.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Jara West.
Yes. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I think I'll be very precise. Almost all the important areas has been highlighted. So there is no need to spend more time on this issue because it is already clear. In fact, I have an important question that I want to ask the committee before I start my contribution. That is whether, because it is this morning, we've seen these two documents here, whether the committee get these documents before making any recommendation in their report, whether these things were with them by the reason that it is mentioned in the report that their credentials has been seen by the committee and they are satisfied about it, whether they were in possession of these two certificates or these two documents before taking that decision. That's my question. And like my colleague, Honorable Member for Jara East, we are people's representative. We live in the society. We are living in the midst of the people. Any issue that we have in hand, let's know and believe that our people are fully aware of whatever we are doing. And they in fact give their input to their members. That is one of our most important functions as the representative of the people. Why I say that, I'll come to that. The president has done what is required of him in the Constitution to make his appointment. And the confirmation belongs to us. But I think the purpose of that confirmation is what Honorable Member for Brikama North has just mentioned right now. We are doing this confirmation to help the president. The appointment may come in any dimension. But when it comes to confirmation here, we're going to look for reasonable, very reasonable documents. Our recommendations are going to be based on reasons. So in essence, we are helping the person who appoints. We should do that, notwithstanding the recommendation of the committee. Like I said before, we are living in our communities. And whatever issue we are dealing with here, people has interest in it. We also get information. Be it in that committee or not, you must have to have an information relating to that issue. whether you find it or somebody bring it to you voluntarily. So that's why it is better, anytime the report is laid, those of us that are not members of that committee to also come up with their ideas, then finally we will be able to get a solution to that problem. Madam Speaker, we thank the committee. Looking at the time frame, the first day we discussed about this issue. Up to date, it's not a long time to come up with a report. Of course, I want that question to be answered, whether you have these documents with you before you take your recommendation. In the Constitution, the reason for Security Council is clearly stipulated in the Constitution. It's not only to advise the President on security matters alone. There are other functions attached to that, which are very, very important. If I can read it with your permission, Madam Speaker. The National Security Council shall be responsible for advising the President on all matters relating to security of the Gambia and the integration of domestic and foreign policy relating to security. Here you are talking about policy. We need somebody with the academic qualification, with the professional experience together. Somebody like Mr. Yusuf Adiba. We all know that one time he was a permanent secretary. You know more about policies. The other CV that we have, I think, has already been dealt with. All the errors and all what we see in it has been clearly mentioned. That's what we expect from the second one also. The type of qualification or a similar qualification to that with an experience like that of Mr. Yusufa Diba. If we have to know, for example, the committee may do their own investigation relating to these two people. We all know that Mr. Ndaunja is a household name. But if you are a household name, at the same time, people know more about you because you are a household name. Out of your recommendation or out of your report, we also get informations regarding the appointment of Mr. Ndaunja, because he was in the same system, working with people in the same system. In fact, if we have to get a very good recommendation about him, should come from that institution, Gambia National Army. They stand at a position to tell us who that man is, whether he can mount this position. I want to concur with Honorable Member for Brikama South. There is a breach between the military and the civilians of this country during the past 22 years. And we have to build that bridge. That gap has to be bridged. How do we do that? If these two appointees that the president is supposed to appoint are civilian, with administrative experience and the academic background, may be helping us to bridge the difference between civilians and the military. I agree with Honorable Member for Brikama South. Both of them are Gambians. They can take any position in the country. But looking at the nature of this position and looking at the documents that are given to us in this morning, I also agree with my colleagues that Mr. Yusuf Adiba can be confirmed And Mr. Ndaonjai, the President may take another nomination to replace him. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I beg to take my seat.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Member for Latrikunda Sabiji.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. Honorable Speaker, we are looking at the appointment of, we are looking at the key appointment here as dictated by the law of the Gambia. But Honorable Speaker, I just want to start my debate by telling this August Assembly, I think respect is reciprocal. If you want people to respect you, you have to respect them too. Being in the chamber sometimes talking about people in a very, very negative manner is wrong. That is not what we are here for. It doesn't matter if you have an observation with people, let us know the words that we're going to use towards them. That's very important. That's a key. Honorable Speaker, and then sometimes if I just listen to some of the members here, I just get flabbergasted. Simply because you talked about the youth. Let's say, let's give opportunity to youths. Yes, we accept it. Let's give opportunity to the women. We accept it. But these are the very people that stood here. Let's just recall, if I can recall our memory back in this. When we are amending the age limit here, what's happened? We say age is a wisdom. That's what we said here. And today, we're talking about that same wisdom. You say, no, let's give opportunity to the young ones. Are we really fair to ourselves? Well, let us just look. Who is fooling who? Let's ask ourselves. Who is fooling who here? Honorable Speaker, we understand. You have your observation towards the committee. That's important.
Madam Speaker, point of order.
That's important. We have an observation towards the mover of the motion. I'm not giving it.
Order. This is order.
Point of order. Yes, from which standing order?
Point of order.
From which standing order? Section of standing order. From which section of the standing order?
Raised by honorable members which are not right. But I equally have issues to raise. People don't follow rules and procedures. I mean, there are rules and procedures. Let's follow our proceedings rules in this assembly. So now, the honorable member wants to make an observation. Now, it is for you. You see, I think honorable Chair of the Standing Orders Committee, I think we should organize something so that at least we will all understand the decorum that is expected in the Assembly. Now, what I'm saying is the honorable member has raised his tag and he says he has an observation. Now, a point of order. Okay, what is your authority?
Standing Order 5.
Clause 5.
Clause 29. 29, Clause 5. Standing Order 29, Clause 5. No member shall impute improper motives to any other member. And this is what exactly that he is
Honorable
doing.
Speaker, I did not mention any number.
Can I observe?
I think we should all try to observe this rule. We should all try to observe it. I mean, in fact, what we are doing, I stand to be corrected by my technical team, is we're debating a report. So we should limit the parameters of our debate on the content of the report. On the content of the report. You see, but it appears as if we're sort of going a little bit outside. So please, let's come back to base and regularize things. You can continue, Honorable Member for Latrikunda.
Thank you, Ma. I think, Ma, I wish that you observed this since at the beginning of the debate, then things would have been better by now.
Close that chapter. Continue with your intervention.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, if you look at this, if you look at section 189(1) of the Constitution establishes the armed forces council, which comprise. We are not talking only about this thing, 2 other members appointed by the president. But let's look at the portfolio. There's other ones. There's the vice president as the chairperson, the minister for the time being responsible for defense, the chief of defense staff, the army forces chief of staff, the armed forces chief of staff, the commander of the army, the navy and the air force. A series of people are listed. It's not only these people that we should, we should be concerned. These 2 people cannot just move the entire army. We need them, and we're talking about experience. We're not just only talking about the academic qualification. We need to talk about the academic qualification. Let's look at ourselves here. It's important. Let's just go back to the draft or wheresoever and say that if you are coming as a member of the parliament, you should at least have a BSc, or you should at least have a grade 12 certificate. Tell me where it is in the Constitution saying that if you are to hold this position, you should have a bachelor's, or you should have master's, or you should have this. Where? Honorable Speaker. Yes, we know. Let's just ask ourselves. Sometimes we need to be very, 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 let's just be reasonable enough sometimes. We give a committee to do a job. They did that job. Come back to us, report to us. Yes, we have the right to debate on that report. But sometimes the way and the manner that we're doing things is wrong. Look, this is an assembly. We all have the right to talk, and we can all do it. What you can do, someone can do better than what you can do, Honorable Speaker. It's very simple. That is the truth. Honorable Speaker, if you look more further, you look at the methodology used by the committee. It's very simple. They have told us that this is the methodology that they use to arrive at this decision. When this motion was laid here, what we say? We say, no, we cannot debate on this. Only 2 people might be debate, and we refer to the committee to go and do the job. Yes, we are not saying that the committee is perfect. They have not, no, we didn't say that. We have our recommendation. Honorable Speaker, for me, it will be very, very, very unfair to say that let me select Mr. A and then drop Mr. X. No, I'm not going to do that. If I am dropping, I'm going to drop both of them. If I am going to approve, I'm going to approve both of them. That is me. That's what I will do. That is it. But if you feel like, yes, Mr. X should be dropped, X, Y, and Z, and then look, we cannot even use TRRC as a benchmark to drop Mr. Ndao. It's wrong. Actually, someone that we are saying here. Honorable Speaker, you looked at the recommendation of the committee. They says here, the committee hereby recommend as follows, that the Assembly to confirm the appointment of the retired Colonel Modou Ndao Njai and Mr. Yusuf Babukar Diba as member of the Army Forces Council for the reason that, A, the candidate acquired the requisite knowledge with experience and or qualification to be appointed member of the Armed Forces Council. That's what the committee told us. I think let's reflect our mind back. There was an appointment here. We debated about it, and it was referred to the committee. We followed the due process, and the committee come back and tell us, no, Mr. X is not qualified. We didn't select him at our committee level. And we all agreed unanimously. But we give these people a job, and they did what we asked them to do. We are not saying that don't debate on their report, no. But sometimes it's important to be reasonable enough. That is not right, Honorable Speaker. Sometimes you cannot just be too sentimental about issues. That is wrong. This is a parliament. We talk about experience here. These are the very people that always talk about experience. And then when it comes to this one, we say, no, the guy have a lot of experience but doesn't have an academic qualification. And let's compare our education system then and now, since the 90s and then the now. What's the difference? There's a big gap. Yes, someone says here, you can have BSc today. Someone with all level is far more better than you. We know. And it's not just a matter of you are trying to impress the youth. No, if you are to impress the youth sector, you look at the programs that are designed for the youth, the program and the policy that are designed for the youth. This is how you empower the youth, but not at this level. If you look at the women, you look at the program designed for the women. That's how you empower the women. But not like this. No.
But if you think that we are going to have a political score by mentioning the name of the youth or the women for them to support you or whatsoever, Honorable Speaker, I think you are fooling yourself. Thank you.
Honorable Member for Talinding.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me the floor. Madam Speaker, I think there is a reason why we are called honorary person. It will be very unfair for we to assign a work to the committee. After doing all the work, we discredit their work and start the debate fresh. Madam Speaker, looking at the short biography of Mr. Momodou Ndao Njie, compared to the results that came from the Gambia High School that members are comparing, even myself, if I don't look at my results now, I can know that this is the credit and pass that I score in my language. And I think this is what this short biography is talking about. And this one is just a telephone conversation. So let us not confuse the assembly. Madam Speaker, going by the confirmation of the committee, this alone adds a great title to this great gentleman. Madam Speaker, hard working always pay off. And these two gentlemen were well prepared from the very beginning. No one can dispute to that. Madam Speaker, having Mr. Momodou Ndao Njie with such caliber of security personnel plus Mr. Diba can help them to conduct the work properly. Because as earlier alluded by the Honorable Member of Latrikunda, the position is not saying that you must have certain criteria before you get into the position. Madam Speaker, one might be educated and have all the degree and still be an ignorance. Let us stop belittling the uneducated people. We are celebrating many heroes in this country here who didn't even go to school, who stood up and approved the dictators, and we are celebrating them. But today they are talking about somebody like this credential and so on. And we are celebrating these people. Madam Speaker, let's stop this and help our country to move forward. Thank you.
Honorable Member for Kantoras on my list, but apparently he's not on seat. So I will give the opportunity to all Yundum, then we move on to this side. Thank you. All Yundum, yes.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
Upper Fuladu, you will agree with me that we've had, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Much has been said already. And yesterday we were dealing with these two credentials that we have on our table, that is in the person of Mr. Momodou Ndao Njie and Yusuf Adiba. With regards to the report of the Public Appointment Standing Committee that is before us. First of all, I want to believe that the executive, perhaps the Minister of Defense, is not ignorant of the fact that Mr. Momodou Ndao Njie did not have any qualification to be represented in this council. If he did not acquire the necessary qualification, I think the executive and the Minister of Defense would not even have advised perhaps the President to nominate this individual to be part of this council. That is the first thing. We have the nomination on our table before, and it was referred to the Public Appointment Standing Committee. They went through the report, and they have brought a report for us too. In the methodology, first, with your indulgence, Madam Speaker, they made mention of, in reviewing the credentials of both retired Colonel Momodou Ndao Njie and Mr. Diba, the committee took cognizance of the functions of the Armed Forces Council as prescribed in the 1997 Constitution. That's what they did first. That is what the committee looked at. For me, it is not written anywhere that you have to be a master's degree holder to be able to speak English language, and that is when you should be nominated to become an advisor to a particular position for a particular reason. Let me take a specific reference of this National Assembly. In the 1997 Constitution, Section 105, states that the language in the National Assembly is going to be English language. But also, if there is any act, we can also use any other language. Does that mean that when we want to use Mandinka language in this National Assembly, are we supposed to go back to school and have a certificate for that particular language and be able to speak that language in the National Assembly? That is not the case. So it does not mean that he has to get the academic qualification to be able to become an advisor. So long he went through the experience, let me say the military experience. He knows how military operate. That is the most important thing in this case. If you look at the functions of the council, I think he will be able to operate in that aspect. Given the fact that the other people surrounding him, they will be able to take an informed decision, not only him. So we should not be bothered much about the academic qualification of the person. Of course, it's important, but look at the functions before you talk about the qualification. I mean, that is why if you can advise the president in any other language that is of interest of this country, I see no reason why you should be marginalized to take certain positions in this country because you cannot speak English language. You should be able to speak our language. That is why we are backward, and that is the fact. So we look at the methodology here. For me, when I was reading the report, I was looking at the methodology taken by the committee, and they have taken it very seriously, and that is why they inform this plenary. If you go further, they look at the person's character. We were talking about the attitude of the individual. Attitude. We all come from constituencies. When we were nominated or selected in our various constituencies, we all know we have people who were against us, and they were talking bad about us because they feel that our attitude in one way or the other is also bad. That is normal. But that should not be the case in this National Assembly. We should be looking at what the report said and, perhaps what the person is all about, whether he will be able to do what is expected of him. That is what we're supposed to do. So they look at the character of the individual. That is not a problem, and they have mentioned it here. They also talk about the responsibility to advise the president on all matters of policy relating to. Like I said, it doesn't mean that he should be speaking English language only to be able to advise on policy issues. That is not the case. That is not nowhere in the Constitution. It's very clear. If he can, if he can do his job, I see no reason why we should not be able to nominate the person to be able to advise in that position, so long he has those people surrounding him to be able to do the job. So, Madam Speaker, for me, it is about academic qualification. The academic qualification is only one. But look at Mamadou Ndaonjia, where he comes from. In 1984, when I was young, I don't even know him, but I know, and I was told that he is the one who formed the National Army of this country. How many of us in this National Assembly will be able to take that task right now? How many of us? We cannot. So let's take it from there. We should be able to take him. And then he is surrounded by other, officers who we believe have the academic qualification to be able to do this job. So for me, I think he wants to be part of the council. I am supporting him. I am supporting his nomination, and I want the National Assembly to support his nomination. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you very much. Woolley East.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to participate in this debate on this report. Honorable Speaker, we are dealing with a very important issue, which is about defense, security, and we are told that this is the first time that a council like this had ever been established in the Gambia. So this is the first time. And if you look at the situation, you will see that what we are trying to create, a council, is a combination of people who have knowledge in different fields and experiences. That's what we are trying to create. Yes, we are talking about two people, but it's not only those two people. It's in combination with other people, with other experiences. That's what we are trying to create. And the role that is given to them is a very important role. So that role should be played by them as a collective rather than as individuals. If you go to the education committee, you will find teachers there, but you will find agriculturalists there. You will find maybe nurses there, some people who have knowledge in nurse. You may have journalists there. So when they put their heads together, the ideas are coming from different directions. That does not mean to say that academic qualification is not important. It's very, very important. But I also believe that a human being who has spent all his time in a particular field, whether that person shows you a document to say that, I have this knowledge, automatically you should know that that person has that knowledge. Even if you don't have a degree in education, if you spend all your life teaching, then you have knowledge in education. You don't need to show a certificate for that. So, Honorable Speaker, essentially the role of the Council is to advise the head of state on how best security and defense can be improved in this country. If you look at the combination, Honorable Speaker, you will see that you have more civilians in the group than you have army personnel. Because the two people we are selecting, they are considered civilian. The vice president there is a civilian. The Minister for Defense is a civilian. Chief of Defense Staff, that's the Army, Armed Forces Chief of Staff, Army, and the Navy, Air Force, they are all Army people. So others will come and bring what is obtaining in the Army. Others are coming from the outside with experience, with Army experience. Others are pure civilians. And their role is both on policy as well as other matters like promotions and so on and so forth. So the other arguments that people bring really, such as somebody talking about somebody before the TRRC, I don't think is tenable in this debate. Because you can have people saying lies about other people. Can that happen? That can happen. They are allegations. It's just like you going to the court and then you had somebody standing before the court giving evidence. All of a sudden you come out and said, yeah, what I heard about the court, somebody said somebody killed somebody, and it is true. He has killed the person. That's the way you make your judgment. That's not the way we make judgment. So it's not about what you hear. That's hearsay. That's hearsay. All I want to say in addition is that there is wisdom in putting an elderly person to advise you than to put a very young person to advise you. They said, an old man sitting, in fact lying, will see further than a young person. Even if the young person climbs the tree. the old person will still see further. So let's not forget that also. Mr. Njai, since he left school, was in the field force, went to the gendarmerie, went to the army, built the army with the BAT training team, with the Turkish, up to when he was removed. He went as ambassador, so he has experience and he also has some knowledge. With the combination with all these people, they'll be able to advise the president wisely. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Nyamina East.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the subject under discussion is very sensitive, is very critical, and of course very important for one to take his or her decision. And it is important before one will take his or her decision, one has to circumspect everything that it entails. And that is exactly what we are doing. But before going further, Honorable Speaker, it could be misleading, misguiding, and misrepresenting. For one, to say this August Assembly, or it will be wrong for this Honorable Assembly to accept one of the nominee and reject the other one. As long as the powers vested on us are concerned, we do have the mandate to approve both or to reject both, or to accept one and reject one. And for one to say it would be wrong for us to accept one and to reject the other one, it is nowhere in the Constitution, and I stand to be corrected. Maybe those that are saying this, they can better guide me so that I can better take a proper decision. But as long as I know, it is not within the jurisdiction of the law. Honorable Speaker, the two individuals in question, as long as I am concerned, I don't know either of them. And if I am to take any decision regarding their confirmation, I don't have to take my decision on the fact that I know them personally. And it will be incorrect for me taking a decision confirming their nomination on the basis that I know them personally. In a debate, of course, Honorable Speaker, you don't force individuals to accept what you are presenting before them, but you convince people with fact base to accept what you are saying. And that is exactly what some of the members are trying to emphasize in this August Assembly. Honorable Speaker, I could remember so vividly, I was the one who moved the motion when the motion or whatever was tabled by the minister, that all the requirements that the minister was talking about, the experience and all those stuff were clearly stated as long as that motion is concerned. But it is very surprising that all that actually we were told as long as that motion is concerned is not actually the case as long as the documents provided are concerned, Honorable Speaker. And on the basis of that, Honorable Speaker, two things are involved in this. That is the credential, of course. We're talking about the qualification, and alongside, we are talking about the experience. This is not a new thing. We don't have to be told. We have been practicing this in this Honorable Assembly, because we did confirm certain nominations in this National Assembly regarding certain positions in this National Assembly. And it is the same method that we are trying to apply as long as the subject under discussion is concerned. So why do we have to rush? Why do we have to against one another? The most important part of this that we are doing is, if you have any idea, if you have any findings regarding what we are discussing, place it on the table, convince people to accept what you are saying, and at the end of the day, then we find the way forward. That is the most important part of this. Honorable Speaker, the experience, of course, we are told by the minister, everything was clearly stated, as long as these two individuals are concerned. But the purpose of that motion was for the minister or the individuals responsible or in question provide the documents that were clearly stated on that motion. This is why that motion was referred to a particular committee. And we wish to congratulate, we wish to thank the committee for that. The fact that they took their time, they were able to carry out the assignment given to them, that is an excellent thing, and we need to appreciate that. But it does not necessarily mean that whatever that is brought before us, then it has to be accepted. They don't have the final approval. Here it is, and here we are doing so, Honorable Speaker. So my position here is very clear, as long as some of my issues are already being dealt with by some of the members. Mr. Njai, as long as I am concerned and having seen what is presented before me, I am not definitely convinced. Because most of the individuals who are talking here, they are just citing the experience obtained by Mr. Njai. But actually, we have seen in the TRRC, Mr. Njai's name being mentioned for several times. Do we actually carry out what it takes to investigate, to listen to what has been said about that individual? Do we actually went further to investigate why Mr. Njai was sacked during his tenure? These are things that we need to know. And all these things could be part of the experience that Mr. Njai obtained. All these things are talking about the records that Mr. Njai obtained, if not only the credential, Honorable Speaker. And on the basis of that, what we are presented here in this Honorable Assembly, I got to know that, Honorable Speaker, in fact, these documents for that of Mr. Njai was presented yesterday. This is what I get to know. And I don't know actually how the committee were able to do that and have everything done. I don't know, I just need to be guided on the basis of that. Because we were expecting that this will be submitted and they will better defend that at the committee level. And that was not the case as long as I make my findings, Honorable Speaker. So for Mr. Diba, I am in full support of Mr. Diba as long as the confirmation is concerned. But for that of Mr. Njai, as long as my vote is concerned, I cannot just approve it on the basis that I am not convinced with what is given to me. Thank you.
Asylum.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the committee for the work they've done. Because we've assigned them a task to look at the confirmation of 2 people in the Armed Forces Council. Honorable Speaker, the Armed Forces Council actually comprises of 10 people. So the only thing the Constitution asks us to do is to confirm the last 2 only. And when you are dealing with military issues, Honorable Speaker, especially military administration, is no small matter. And it's important that we really understand issues and put them to context so that we can really do the right thing as parliamentarians. Honorable Speaker, if we, when you deal with the armed forces, these are 2 things we really need to be aware of. We have the Armed Forces Council, and then you have the National Security Council. These are fundamentally different things, and they do different things. When you look at the Armed Forces Council itself, Honorable Speaker, you have the Vice President as chairperson, somebody has mentioned. You have the Minister for the time being responsible for defense, who also has a lot of experience in the armed forces. You have the Chief of Defense Staff. You also have the commanders of the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. So in terms of military experience, I think the council has enough. But I must also say, military councils in various parts of the world, they take different forms. In fact, in some countries, the military council or the armed forces council comprise only military personnel. But in our country, we wanted to add something else, which is these last 2, which could be civilians. But in other jurisdictions, you go 100%, they are all military officers. You know, Honorable Speaker, you know, education, you know, it's just a process. Through maybe a regular classroom to obtain a certificate or something. But we must also remember that there's also another type of education, we call it an enlightening experience. That's all part of education. And you don't necessarily have to have a master's degree or a PhD holder or whatever it is. But enlightening experience that somebody actually has can actually make a big difference in any situation that we have in this world. Honorable Speaker, when we look at, when we assign the committee work to do, and I think it was very clear, the committee in their report on page 3 says, the methodology they use, they scrutinize the credentials of the retired Honorable Mamadou Ndaw Njie and Mr. Baboucarr Diba. I do not know any one of them. And in doing so, they look at their credentials, which is their education, academic background, and they also look at their experience. These are two things they look at together to come up with the decision they came with. And if you look at the responsibilities of the Armed Forces Council, Honorable Speaker, even though it's talking about budgeting, but when we go back to understand really who does actual budgeting, you know, the permanent secretaries, these are the vote controllers in all the ministries. They are responsible. When we come here as a parliament, when we look at the budget of the country, normally we deal with the permanent secretaries. And in fact, when we ask them to come and defend their budget, which we've started to do, the permanent secretaries are actually at the forefront to defend every single thing that they do. So these two we are talking about right here, Honorable Speaker, they do not necessarily have to have experience in budgeting or financial matters. They do not, because the permanent secretary, that's the responsibility of the PS in that particular ministry. If you go in the Public Finance Act, it's also very clear who are the vote controllers. It's also very clear. Then, the interesting thing, Honorable Speaker, that is the Commander-in-Chief of the Gambia Armed Forces, the President of the Republic of the Gambia. In terms of experience, the only thing they're saying here, he or she has completed senior secondary school education. That's the Commander-in-Chief. That's exactly what it says in the Constitution here. So if the Commander-in-Chief, who gives direction on how the army gets to be operated, the only thing you are required, no experience in military matters, in fact, no experience in university education, no experience in college education, the only thing you are required to do is senior secondary school. That's what we have here in our laws. So, in terms of military experience, again, when you look at it in totality, 10 people are part of the council. And out of the 10, half of them actually they have military experience. The commander of the army, the commander of the navy. Then you talk about the chief of defense staff. It's already there. So these additional two people they are bringing, basically you can call them, they are civilians to augment what is already available from the council, from the 10 people. Honorable Speaker, when you talk about education as well, we can talk about that one as well. Section 89 of our 1997 Constitution, qualification for membership of the National Assembly. Here, again, it says it's able to speak English language with a degree of proficiency. We, who are deciding, in fact, we are the ones that are actually deciding on who they should be, the president should take or not. And in fact, we even have the mandate to be able to remove a president on a certain procedures. And the only thing we are required to do, education-wise, is to be able to read. So what this tells you, actually, education and experience, these are two things that can go together. And I think essentially what the committee actually has done is to look at both. And that's why they came up with this report. Again, personally, I do not know who Ndaw Njie is. I don't. I do not know Mr. Diba. I don't. But what I'm looking at actually is the holistic view of these people. What can they do to contribute to the development of the Armed Forces Security Council? Because again, when was the last time we had such a council in this country? When was the last time we had a minister responsible for defense? When was the last time we have those? So what the army is doing, and I think we need to understand that, they're trying to fix a broken system. They are trying to fix a broken system, and this cannot be done in a single day. It's going to take time. And I think where they're starting, I think is the best place to start so that we can move forward as a nation. Well, I do not have any personal vendetta against anybody. I will always speak my mind, and I always speak what I think, is correct based on what I know, or based on what my researches are. But nobody tells me what to say in this parliament here. Honorable Speaker, to go further, and I think there's one thing we also need to realize, and I think maybe perhaps as a parliament we are really debating, we are really deviating from that a little bit. You see, there's no one that says that the reports of committees cannot be debated. No, we can debate it because it doesn't mean that whatever the committee brings in this parliament is perfect. No, but in instances when it's near perfection, we'll say it. But we also have the right to criticize where we think it's not correct. And I think it's also in line when people say that they do not agree with the report of the committee. It's in line. These are our own opinions. We need to understand that. But the facts will always remain the facts. So, Honorable Speaker, for me personally, if I need more information about these two people, I will tell the vice chair or the mover of the motion. Maybe they can provide additional information. But with what I have, it's going to be really very difficult for me to make an informed decision right now. I need more information to be able to make an informed decision. Because what I have right now before me is not really very adequate for me to make an informed decision where I stand right now. Because most of the things I have, I got them just a few hours ago. So on that note, I beg to stop here. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
West.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To be honest with you, I'm sitting here and listening to all what is going on here, and I'm really saddened because Honorable Mr. Ndaunjai, whose case now has come to be a point of concentration, or knowing him as I do, I don't think he would want to hear what is coming out from here. He would not want himself to be a subject of this much scrutiny in public space. He's a distinguished gentleman who would rather pull the plug now and not delete his name from the nominations, rather than not going through this anguish that he's been subjected to. Madam Speaker, we are confronted now with a very difficult decision to make. Section 189, subsection 1 gives us the reason why Parliament has a role in this. If it was law that the President, as the chief of the defense staff, or chief commander-in-chief of the armed forces, could have made this decision by himself, it would have been in the Constitution. But we have a role to play in it. That's why, the Constitution captures that Parliament has to approve the nomination of these two people who the President might nominate. And to be honest with you, like I said, Ndaunjai is a family friend. He's a friend of the old man until his last days. But even so, the old man and the then permanent secretary of Ministry of Defense, who also served as a speaker in this house, found the need to relieve him of his duties as the commander of the armed forces. Why? Why? They still remain friends, even after his removal from office. But they did not think he was fit to man that position any further. And Madam Speaker, that is something that cannot be pushed aside. It's very important that we consider it, given the context of the security sector reform that we are doing. We don't want to affect the gains we have made already in the past 3 years. For 36 years, 39 years out of the 55 years of our independence, this country has no security problems. Citizens who are supposed to be our principals, people who we are supposed to serve, have been subject to all kinds of and manners of security threats, to the point that when we came to this point, we thought it's necessary now to once and for all learn from the past and make sure that whatever we experience now are not revisited. Madam Speaker, there are 3 issues I'm looking at here, and before I do that, let me just address this issue. I find it very inconsistent when members start talking about, but the committee has done a very fantastic job, and therefore, we should not actually challenge their recommendations. No. I think the last session we had here, the extraordinary session, we as a special select committee came up with very strong recommendations, but it was pushed aside. So this parliament, this body, is more powerful than any committee's job. It's an assignment that you are supposed to do, and like it or not, whatever this parliament decides is final. So committees' jobs are prone to further scrutiny by this body. Madam Speaker, taking cue from your prayers this morning, I won't repeat what Honorable Fojara is noted, and also to actually come back to the point, we are required to confirm the appointments made by the President of 2 distinguished gentlemen to serve in the apex body of the armed forces. And this apex body has never been functional in the history of the Gambia, and this is going to be the first time that they are functional. The minister made a very good motion and made claims that these distinguished gentlemen have had a lot of qualifications, experience, conduct, and also all sorts. It's a claim. And a motion was moved that such claims don't be presented so that we can verify that they are true. Now, until a few moments ago, we have been presented a report, plus that report 2 batches of credentials and qualifications from the committee presented forward. I feel very difficult to actually distinguish between these 2 gentlemen, but to be honest with you, in the case of Mr. Diba, I find it very difficult to actually see why he should not be in this body. With 14 certificates from different parts of the world, California, Botswana and Swaziland, Sussex in England, you name it, he has been all over the world and has also served as a permanent secretary until 2011 in the Ministry of Defense. And after which he was given another contract to go and serve in the foreign services in Cuba. So if that gentleman is not qualified to be in such a council, then I don't know who is. But if you come to the case of Mr. Njai, I find it very difficult in the first place not to even talk about it, because we are not forwarded with any evidence of the qualifications the minister claimed that he has. We have attestations from Mr. Wada in 1986. We have attestations from the high school that claim that he did attend. We have an application to Sandhurst, but these are not certificates. These are just somebody's words. And if I told somebody's word is as good as Honorable Member for Willie East is saying, then Honorable Member, I have a master's degree in Spanish. I would want you to believe me and take my word for it. Because if words are all what we have to bank on, then I think, as a Honorable Member, my words should not be questioned. Madam Speaker, talking about experience, like I said, Ndaunjai, I think he was even born in a camp, a military camp. He has his father, I think, served in the Gambia field force, then him, and some of his, many of his compatriots. But why should such a man be relieved of your duties if at all your experience and your conduct was at par with moving this country forward? At the time, the government of the day found the need to remove him from his office in the betterment of the or in the interest of the nation. So if that has to do with what is now coming out from the TRRC, then this is not a man that as the committee is saying that has exhibited impeccable character. It's true. Unless we wait for the recommendations of the TRRC and see what's going to come out of it. True or false, we have to give that due. Honorable Speaker, the other thing I want to mention is members have discussed, and I think one of the members said why Mr. Diba, I think it's honorable member for Fonyi Bondali, said Mr. Diba should go into agriculture. Then the current constitution, section 187, says clearly that now as the draft constitution is trying to avoid the army from going into agriculture and that kind of area. But as law stands now, they can. And if that's the case, then I don't see why somebody with an agricultural background is not fit to be in that office. So with the security sector reform process in mind, like I said, let us not compromise our gains by infusing or forcing people who are somehow rejected by the same people they're supposed to command. I didn't say this, but like other members say, that they found Mr. Njai to have taken the allowances of the soldiers who especially went to Liberia. And for that reason, that is what led to the mutiny. I don't know, but this is actually public information. It's out there on the internet everywhere. That they found that he was not fair in the promotions of soldiers. And one of the principal duties of this council is to actually advise the president on the promotions of it. So here we have a very difficult, contradicting forces that it will be very difficult for me to I put down Jai in Sadauda's position. If Sadauda was put here today, I would make the same decision. Because the national interest supersedes family or friends. And on that note, Madam Speaker, for the welfare of the Gambians, for the peace and security of this country, let us not force somebody who might, even in the position now, not wanting to have this job anymore, as if he's the only one available there. The president has many people to choose from. And I think we should just give him back that opportunity to choose somebody who might be better positioned to serve in this council and move the country forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, please, I would crave your indulgence for us to take a short break to suspend the sitting. I've been sitting for almost going to 4.5 hours now. So I suggest that we suspend for an hour and then come back and finish the business of the day. So the House is hereby suspended and we resume at 3:30. Thank you.